San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And happy Tuesday, everybody, in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. Welcome into the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Pretty good ball game last night for the San Diego Padres. Probably a little bit more frustrating to watch, a 2-1 game, but overall a good baseball game. Those are some of those games that, as a fan of sports, you love when other teams play those games. You don't necessarily love when your team plays those games, unless you win. I've had this conversation a lot. You know, personally, I'm going to ask Frank this question in a second, but personally, watching my favorite teams play, I would just prefer them kick the living you-know-what at everybody every single day. And less stress, less worry. Do I like seeing my team win some close games? Yes. I don't need the close games all the time. I really don't, especially against a team like the Marlins. But you know what? It was a solid game yesterday by the San Diego Padres. You got to see, I think the title of yesterday's game was the Four Horsemen saved the day again. They did. They did it again. I don't know how many times they can continue to do it, but they did it again. And it started with gritty pitching by Adrian Morejon. And then it went into Jeremiah Estrada, and then Jason Adam, and then Robert Suarez. Morejon, 1 2/3 innings. Estrada threw an inning, Adam threw an inning, and Suarez threw an inning. But I think the best part about the Four Horsemen being used, because it was Randy Vasquez, who I thought did great. He's going to give up hits all the time. He had no strikeouts last night. Went 4 1/3 inning, only gave up 1 run. It was that big hit by Stowers. He had 1 bad pitch. But with no strikeouts, he gave you another gritty performance. His ERA is a 3.73. It's July 22nd. And the guy's made almost every single start to this point. You got to be pleased with Randy Vasquez this year. And as everybody on our radio station has said, hey, it's frustrating to watch him pitch. He's straight. You know what? He's kind of old school. He doesn't need the punch out. Get weak contact. Get the guys that get themselves out. That's great out of a fifth starter. You love that. I love what Randy Vasquez has done in his first, full season being a starter for the San Diego Padres. Really second. That guy put out a lot of innings last year. Gave us a lot of starts. He's really starting to come into his own a little bit, and he's been setting the tone as a starting pitcher. Now, it'd be nice if he went deeper into games. He only threw 68 pitches last night. I think they're kind of monitoring him, obviously being a younger starting pitcher. But I thought he's been pretty good all season long. He's kept the Padres in every single game that he's pitched in. And the Padres have won 13 games in which he has started. So he started it off. And then Morejon came in. 1 2/3 innings of shutout, no-hit ball, 2 punch-outs. Estrada didn't give up a hit in an inning. Adam gave up 1 hit in an inning. And Suarez gave up 1 hit in an inning. And that was about it. But I think the best part about the pitching staff last night for the San Diego Padres was the pitch counts. Look at the pitch counts of last night. Morejon almost went at 2 full innings. He threw 19 pitches. Estrada came in. He threw 12 pitches. Adam came in. Even though he gave up a hit, he threw 6 pitches. And then Suarez needed 10 pitches to close the game down. That's the best part. So as much as you look at the way the Padres Four Horsemen, as they have been now deemed in pop culture here in San Diego, the Four Horsemen, the back four of Morejon, Estrada, Adams, Suarez in some particular order. As much as a lot of those gentlemen lead in innings pitched in Major League Baseball, the good news is they're very efficient in their pitch counts. And Kevin Acee talked about that a little bit in his daily newsletter today about the San Diego Padres four horsemen being really efficient with their pitch mix and not throwing a lot of pitches. Look, you could track innings all you want. But when you look at their pitching in terms of pitches thrown, which is really what matters on the arm more than the innings, there's a lot to work with here, and why there's a reason I don't think this bullpen's going to get completely buried or overused. Now, that being said, Manny Machado did say this yesterday in a quote. Down the road, we're going to have to step up a bit more and score some more runs for these guys and not be throwing them out there every single day. I agree with that. They can't be doing that all the time. I mean, they've appeared in a lot of different games. But here's the deal. Here's what's laid out in Kevin Acee's daily newsletter. Morejon's average of 13.6 pitches per inning is tied for third fewest in Major League Baseball relievers. So even though he's throwing a lot of innings, he's being very efficient. He's not using a lot of bullets. In Major League Baseball, an average of 16 pitches per inning is considered efficient. Estrada and Suarez are averaging 15.9. And if it wasn't for Adam in the last couple of weeks getting into a little bit of trouble, he probably would have lower than his 16.9 average pitches per inning. That's incredible. That's great news. So you can talk about it all you want with the bullpen, and you know they're being used a lot, and look at all the innings they've thrown. I say look at the pitches. Look at the pitches. They're not throwing the ball a lot, which is a big reason why they continue to use these guys night in and night out. That being said, it sounds like the Padres are in the market for another bullpen arm, which is kind of swaying a little bit. And we're going to get to the trade deadline stuff a little bit more. We got another article out of Dennis Lin. There's a lot being discussed. And where there's smoke, there's fire. And now this is the second time that I've seen Mason Miller's name pop up in an article that involves the Padres. You know, we'll talk about that later on in the show. I think it's very interesting. There's so many different directions they can go. And I was at softball last night, and the umpire, Rick Sloan, who's been umpiring there for so long, longtime softball player, was talking to him. He's like, what do you got for me on the Padres? What's going on behind the scenes? And I said, it's hard to tell, because trying to predict what A.J. Preller is going to do is a fool's errand. You're not going to be able to do it. It's just, you never know what he's going to do. He brings in players on trades that you didn't even know were available. So it's going to be hard to tackle that, but we're getting more information. The beat writers of the Padres do a great job of getting a lot of that information and passing it along. I just think it's interesting that it's the second time you've seen Mason Miller's name pop up. That's what the idea is that Dennis Lin laid out is very intriguing to me from a couple of different perspectives. And we're going to get to that in the 11 o'clock hour. But that was the pitching side of things. Vasquez, again, 4 1/3, helped the day by starting the day off right. 7 hits, 1 run, no strikeouts, 1 walk, 68 pitches, 45 for strikes. From an offensive standpoint, could have used a little bit more offense. They used a lot of it. I mean, they hit the lights out on Sunday. Only able to get 2 runs. They were 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They had opportunities again. Bogarts, Tatis, Maldonado all had doubles. But 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. It'd be nice to get a couple more runs. They had that one inning where Fernando got stranded at third base. Man, he got rung up on a pitch that was like he needed a 9-iron to to dig that ball out. But they got the job done enough. It'd be nice for them to give the bullpen a little bit more help because as you saw yesterday or 2 days ago, the Padres not having to use their bullpen on Sunday helped them win last night's game. That's why like those big blowout games help out the Padres just as much as these grinding out ball games. So you got to see a little bit of things from the offense. Now, Xander Bogaerts got another double. He's been hitting really well in his last couple of weeks. Last, 5 or 6 weeks, he's been great. Jackson Merrill looked like he was playing like he was sick. But even then, I mean, how about this? If Jackson Merrill doesn't run through Leaper's stop sign at third base, who knows who the Padres game would be? I mean, they probably could have gone extra innings. His first to home was great, and he's dealing with a stomach ailment. He said he felt like ass last night after the game. That makes a lot of sense. There was a couple of times you looked at him, and he just looked like so out of it. But Merrill said on his trip around the bases yesterday, I thought I got off my jump pretty good. I think when I was rounding third, it was still coming in, so that's all I need. It takes one bobble, one stutter step like he did, and we scored. And you could tell right after he is just sucking wind. I mean, playing sick is just not fun. But what makes it even more impressive, he said he felt like ass. His first to home was in 10.02 seconds on that Martin Maldonado double. That's the fourth fastest first to home dash by a Padres player this season. And the guy's got a stomach ailment. So I like to see that out of Jackson Merrill. How about Martin Maldonado getting a couple of hits the last couple of days? T. Maldonado, he's gotten a couple of hits, a couple of RBIs. We'll take it. Again, the catching situation is interesting, but they like him a lot. So I wouldn't expect anything too big when it comes to the catching position. We're going to talk more about that in the 11 o'clock hour. We talked a little bit about the big run by Merrill. We talked a little bit about X being on a continuous tear. We talked about the pitching staff. But last night, Luis Arraez mentioned, I think it's worth talking about, that a lot of people might have missed. We'll discuss when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, Standings #1 Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Another night for the Four Horsemen last night, the Padres bullpen. Last night was great for them. Some other defining stats about the Four Horsemen before we move on to Luis Arraez. Even labeled in Kevin Acey's daily newsletter. The Padres have won 55 games this season. We know that. At least one of their highest leverage relievers has pitched in 51 of those victories, which means at least one of the Four Horsemen has pitched in 51 of the 55 victories. They are used a lot. It's a big reason why they're used a lot. All four pitchers being used have accounted for 16 victories. 3 of the Four Horsemen being used, 11 victories. 2 of the Four Horsemen being used, 17 victories. And at least 1, 7. There's only been 4 victories in which none of the Four Horsemen were used. That's pretty remarkable. That's pretty crazy. But it shows you how lights out that bullpen is for the San Diego Padres. What a major asset it is for the San Diego Padres. That's how a lot of playoff teams have been built in recent years. I mean, you can look back to last year's World Series champion, and a lot of people don't want to do that because it's the team up the road. But they went with the bullpen last year, not starting pitching. They had 2 starting pitchers go through the playoffs. You got to try to keep that going as much as possible. Now, I think last night was mostly about the Four Horsemen. I think it helps that, you got the gritty performance out of Jackson Merrill, who, quote, felt like ass after the game, who's still battling a stomach ailment. I mean, he was scratched from the game on Sunday against Washington because of that. Xander Bogaerts continues to swing a hot bat. And the last play last night, that was relatively worth talking about, was Luis Arraez. Luis Arraez making a play on a ball from Manny Machado, in which he drew contact. What do we got, Frank? Block or a charge?
I still haven't seen it, honestly.
Charge. Give him the foul.
Well, there you go.
Charge. Otto Lopez.
Hold on.
He draws the foul.
Foul on Lopez. Bang. Right here. Luis Arraez on the deck. We're going to hear what Mike Shildt said about Luis Arraez's play in a second, but this is what Luis Arraez said. Actually, no. I want to hear from Shildt first. Here's Mike Shildt talking about that play yesterday with Luis Arraez getting hit by a runner.
Luis Arraez has zero fear. Whoever's pitching in the field, he's looking to make a play, and he went up, knows there's going to be contact, and he called it, but was aware enough to know he can tag him, and, clearly a big play in that inning.
It was a huge play. It's a good job by Louis. Get the ball, make the tag, take the contact. Here's what Arraez said after the game. I love my team. I'd give everything for my team. I'd do anything to protect my teammates, especially Manny. He made a really good play. I knew the game was super close, so I needed to make that play. I mean, if you need to know, or if you question, or you're trying to ever think about what the clubhouse is like, or what they think of Manny Machado, or who they treat as the leader, I think that quote right there really defines that for Manny Machado as the leader of this team. Now, I didn't say he's the captain. He didn't say, it's our leader, but he kind of hints at that with the direct quote of, I do anything to protect my teammates, especially Manny. Manny Machado, over the years, we've had this conversation before. Manny Machado, over the years, with, some of the stuff that he had in Baltimore, right? With some of the, him growing up in Major League Baseball, the way he acted in the Dodger uniform after being traded, even his first couple of years in San Diego, he has really matured into being a leader of this team and embracing that leadership role as much as he can. I think they've given him some avenues to help lead without having to be the full leader captain type guy, which he doesn't want to be. But he has he has done that in being the identity of the San Diego Padres with a lot of other stars in this clubhouse. And those comments by Luis Arraez talk about the love and the respect that this organization has, but more importantly, the 25 other guys in the clubhouse have for Manny Machado and the player that he is. I think you see that on full display. So it's very interesting to hear that from Luis Arraez. And that's why it's another reason why I think the Padres are headed in the right direction. It's taken some years, but I think you've seen the growth out of Manny Machado. I think you've seen the maturity. I think you've seen the same thing out of the general manager and president of baseball, A.J. Preller. I think you've seen that with him, too, in some of the moves that he has made. And we're going to see in the next 9 days what he's got up his sleeves. Now, we'll talk about that in the 11 o'clock hour. Some of the names that Dennis Lin had listed in an article. But it's slowly starting to piece together here, the Padres. The San Diego Padres organization is slowly starting to piece together and be that team that's going to be competitive every single year. It's infancy still. For what this organization took over, this current ownership of the Seidler family and with Ron Fowler back then, when that group took over, they had a lot of cleaning up they had to do. And now, with that ownership, into new chairman John Seidler, into Eric Grupner running things, with A.J. Preller growing as a general manager over the last 10 years, you're starting to see the fruits of their labor with their everyday product. Now, it's not perfect. We'll see what the trade deadline's like. I still think the Padres are in a really good spot, and I'm not saying they're winning the World Series. I don't think they got that team right now until they get to the end of the trade deadline, and we'll reevaluate from that standpoint. But it's been a consistent, competitive team the last 5 years. Even with collapses mixed in, they have been a competitive baseball team, which is way different than what the Padres were before this ownership showed up. And so it's maturing a little bit, and you're starting to see this organization become a organization in baseball that people think are going to always be competitive. They have retooled their farm system a lot. I mean, I don't know how many times A.J. Preller's been able to completely retool the farm system, but he's been able to do it. So there's a lot of that at play right here, and I think Luis Arraez said it by talking about the respect that he has for Manny Machado. And it starts with that. You need a central leader. And they've done a good job of doing that with their leader, Manny Machado. Other quotes from the game last night. We talked about Randy Vasquez and what he's been able to do. I think he's been great as a fifth starter. But another good outing. It'd be nice if he can get deeper into ball games, and we'll see if that comes later in the year. See if that comes in the next couple of starts. But with the bullpen not having to be used on Sunday at all because you kicked the living you-know-what out of the Nationals on Sunday, you're able to get to your bullpen a lot easier when you can. So, Randy Vasquez did a pretty good job last night. Here's what Mike Shildt said about Randy Vasquez's outing.
Randy's got a slower heartbeat. You know, he's not going to make things much bigger than they are. He's going to just make pitches, and he's got some late movement. He's got multiple pitches he can go to that can get guys off barrel, and you know he's got the ability just to go execute.
He's been great. And the last thing we really want to talk about is obviously Sunday worked out for the Padres. They decided to pull Vasquez, even though he had been looking pretty good. Here's Mike Shildt. I'm bringing in Morahone earlier than he usually does.
You know, you go into the game. That's why, you know, we get understandably asked a lot about bullpens and, you know, usage and, you know, but it's ultimately about availability. And we were in a good position. Like I said, you know, the ability to win yesterday and not have to use those four guys. Didn't use them the day before. We're coming off a break. We know they pitched a little bit in the All-Star game. Set us up to know going into the game, if we get to a certain spot, we can, you know, take our shot at it. You know, the lefties right there, knowing that Morehound's got 1+, we want to take them, you know, through at least Stowers and started Sanchez, and we were like those matchups, but it was based on the previous days, and like I said, 5 pitches were done in 5 days, so guys were rested, and it was time to go get it.
That was Mike Shildt last night after the Padres 2-1 victory, talking about the decision to get Morejon in the game in for Randy Vasquez, despite Randy Vasquez doing a pretty good job. So that's kind of where we want to be in that, kind of recap. But the Padres just completed their 100th game. They're now through 100 games. How do we evaluate the 100 games between this year and last year? Are the Padres more poised to have a better second half this year than last year? We'll discuss when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. We're going to hear from Mike Shildt in a second. But make sure you tune in to the Manager's Report with Mike Shildt this Friday at 9 a.m. on Ben and Woods. Manager's Report is refreshed by EcoWater SoCal. Try alkaline water for just $9.95 a month. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. We're on each and every day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you look below, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see in our description multiple ways that you can follow us on social media. If you haven't done so already, a lot of you already have, so we appreciate all of you. This obviously does not pertain to you, but be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page at B_SURP. It takes 2 seconds to do. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it makes it easier to access our videos on YouTube, all of our live shows. Makes it way easier to do. And there's 8 of you that are watching on the Braden Surprenant Show page, and we appreciate you guys doing that. You can watch both on my page as well as 97 through the fans page. It helps us out. We're trying to get to 500 subscriptions by the end of the baseball season. So throw it on there. Click, hit subscribe. It helps us out. Do the same thing wherever you get your podcasts. We have the Spotify link on there because we don't want to put 1,000 links on there. I mean, there's a lot of places to get your podcast. But wherever you get your podcast, subscribe to that as well. Or like or favorite, whatever it may be on the particular app that you have. It helps us out a ton. So if you like the show, if you like listening to the show, if you want to make it easier on yourself to find said shows, you don't have to go searching for the show or searching 97 through the fan in the YouTube thing, which a lot of you do. I know you do because I see the analytics. There's a lot of people browsing to get to this show. Why not make it easier on yourself and just hit subscribe? We would greatly appreciate it. You can also follow us on social media. Anybody that follows us on social media saw all the new shirts we had printed. And we'll be trying to get those out to you as many as I don't know how I'm going to do that. But I got a lot of shirts getting printed. And I'm not charging anybody for them because people have asked, like, how much? It's my gift to you guys. I'm trying to get the show out there. I'm trying to spread the word. I might have to make a Google form. I'm going to figure it out. Okay, there's a lot of people I got to ship shirts to, which is fine. But I'm getting a shipment on Thursday. And for the people that have been asking for a shirt, Frank's got one of our OTL shirts on. I still got a couple more of those, a handful of the blue. I think I got a couple pink, but I think the pink have already been taken. We're going to find a way to get you the shirts. I don't know if you're going to have to show up here at the station and get them. I'm not going to ship them out to people in San Diego. We'll have to find a way to get you the shirts. And I'm going to find a more efficient way to figure out what shirts people need and all that stuff. So bear with me. If you've already sent me a DM over the last 2.5 weeks about shirts, just know I got you. But at the same time, like, I'm going to have to go looking through it. So you might have to fill. I might have to make like a Google form or something. I got to figure it out. Do you think that's the easiest way, Frank? A Google form?
I would say so. Yeah, kind of.
You could put on there like your name and your address or whatever, or when you could pick. Can you pick up?
Yeah, help you
size. I'm
help
gonna
you
have to
figure
worry.
out what how many shirts you have left. Don't oversell, overpromise, underdeliver.
We want to underpromise and overdeliver instead of overpromise and underdeliver.
That's the key.
So, well, man, it probably helps with people that don't use social media. Then we can put the Google form on the other link on there. But anyway, you can follow us on social media. The new shirts. That was a pretty cool video, wasn't that? That was pretty cool.
Oh, it was.
Thank you to Manny Perez for helping us out with that. But I was telling people, I'm like, you don't want the blue and the pink. The blue and the pink are nice, but it's more of it was more for being out there at Fiesta Island. It is the brown and gold one was nice. Do I need to show a video of that? Do we got to show the pull up Twitter real quick?
No, don't do that.
Why not?
Because then that completely ruins the
surprise of the shirt.
No, it ruins the need to go to our social media accounts to be able to see them.
That's true. Go to social media accounts to see the shirts. There's a lot of people that want some, but they're on there. Anyway, we appreciate it. We got new Braden Surprenant Show shirts. We really appreciate you guys wearing them. And the brown and gold will look good at the Padre game. Did you pass out shirts to single A's at OTL? I mean, we tried our best. Go Aztecs. We tried our best. Anyway, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I know we got to get Rod a shirt. Rod's back in the chat. What's for Rod? We got to ask Rod every day. What's for lunch, Rod? All right. We are at the 100-game mark, correct?
If my math be mathin', which it usually doesn't, but I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad on that. Yes, we're at the 100-game mark. The Padres sit at 55-45 at the century mark. Oh, that's fun. You got to mix it up. You can't say 100-game every time. Century mark. Love it. 31-18 at home, 24-27 on the road. The road record's actually getting a lot better. Second place in the NL West, 3 games behind LA. 3.5 games behind LA. And 3.5 games clear in the wild card. Padres last year were at 50-50 at the 100-game mark, century mark, and we're 26-28 at home and 24-22 on the road. And remember that last year? It's like, how in the world are the Padres not winning games at home? It's just, I'm glad that's not this year.
It's been the last couple of years with that. This
It
has been
has.
primarily a road team, and now to see them winning at home but losing on the road, that is a little bit of a shock to the system.
I will say this, like, the excuses that used to be made about playing at home were just hilarious to me. Well, you know, the batter's eye, the new batter's eye with the fake hedge on there is just really distracting. Just super distracting.
True.
They got rid of, but then it's like, well, then why is the other team hitting really well?
Get the glare off the camera that's in the batter's eye.
Yes. All the excuses that you would get. All right. So this year they're 55-45. Last year they were 50-50. Last year they were third place in the NL West. They were 8 games behind LA and a game behind Arizona outside the wild card. What does Mike Shildt think about the century mark this season? Here's what he had to say.
I feel great where we're at. You know, you'd always want to be a little better, but no, I feel fantastic where we are because, you know, you look at the big picture of what this looks like. First of all, it's a group that's together. You know, it's very close. It's playing together. Enjoys playing together. Enjoys playing. So that, you know, is a starting point. And then after that, you know, the pitching's been good. You know, the pitching's been very good. And they throw strikes and, you know, they control the running game for the most part and do the little things, field their position. Randy did a nice job of it tonight. And we played really good defense. You know, we make routine plays on display tonight. It's been on display for pretty much all season. You know, a metric that is so valuable is the fielding percentage. And, you know, we've dominated that in the last 7 weeks or so and been pretty good with it all year, quite frankly. And so that part's been good. The base running's been really quality, you know, a couple backs tonight. We were aggressive but smart. So the base running we feel like is in a really good place. And now the bat quality has, you know, been really good. The, you know, pregame interview that Stan brought up a couple points that, you know, we've taken some really good at bats. So good at bats tonight. I think the cat's got a really nice arm. But we continue to take the good at bats like we will. Then, you know, this team's built for the second half.
I think this team is built for the second half. And I'll tell you why. I think this team is built for the second half because of the little things and taking care of the little things and winning on the margins. I mean, it's all coach speak, and people don't like, they like to like shut down coach speak, but I'm telling you, as somebody that coaches and somebody that's been around a lot of teams, I've been around a lot of teams. In my 30 years of life, I've been around teams that I've played on, teams that I've coached on, teams that I've worked for, teams that I've worked with. And there is a glaring difference between teams that do things right from the get-go and take care of the little things and teams that blow it off and don't do those things. I seriously, there's a major difference. I see it with the same organizations all the time. The same organizations all the time. One year they'll have a team with great player leadership that does things the right way, that takes care of the little things. They have successful seasons. I've seen the same team the next year not have those things or not take care of those things fall flat on their face. I've seen it multiple times. There's something about a tight-knit group in sports that goes a long way. I mean, you can look at all your numbers and analytics as much as you want, and I think those are important in baseball. But at the same time, there's something about the human element when it comes to leadership, when it comes to camaraderie, when it comes to pulling the rope in the right direction. I think you saw that with last night's quote from Luis Arraez. I mean, those are the things that get you over the top. I've seen so many talented teams fall flat on their face because they can't do the little things right. How you do one thing is how you do everything, right? Like those things. I'm trying to teach that right now to a bunch of 15 to 18-year-old young men that previously last year didn't do those things. And we did fall flat on our face. And it's been a slow process over the summer, but I'm telling you right now, they're starting to get it, and they're starting to come together, and I'm getting more excited for the season. I mean, I've had teams where I've coached where I have allowed things to happen, and it usually does not end well for me or my team. You're either coaching or you're allowing things to happen. And what this team does and what Mike Shildt has done as a manager of now, and here's the difference. Like, I coach high school kids. They're still kids. They will listen to you. I mean, most of the time they will listen to you. They're trying to aspire to get to the next level, right? They're trying to aspire to get to the varsity level, aspire to be a college level player. I mean, there's things they will listen to you. It's a big reason why Harbaugh's done so well in college and hasn't done well in the NFL as much, even though he did go to the Super Bowl with the Niners. And we will talk about the Chargers in a second, later on in the show. I mean, they are here. But when you're coaching, and for me, my perspective is young men. All right, so I coach high school football. A lot of you already know that. Some of you might not. But when our teams are player-led and they're bought in, they play a lot better. And when our teams take care of the little things, they win championships. I'm telling you right now, what I see out of the Padres, they do those things. You got guys like Jackson Merrill that want to win every single day, and it drives him nuts when he doesn't play well. You got Luis Arraez that's willing to sacrifice his body for anybody on this team. I mean, that's part of it. That's part of it. I'm telling you right now, you didn't get that with the 2023 team. And you knew that watching the 2023 team play. And the 2023 San Diego Padres had a lot of these players on that team. And I think they learned from those mistakes. I think it's great having some youth like Jackson Merrill that will do whatever it takes to win. But I thought the Padres in 2023, on the meltdown that was 2023, and you could even say 2021 was kind of a meltdown too, they played more selfish baseball. They played selfishly and didn't play as a unit, didn't play together. And it cost them. Them not coming together in 2021 and 2023 became their downfall. That's different in 2025. I think it's a little bit different than 20. I think that's why a big reason why 2024 they're able to win on the margins. And what Mike Shildt has done as the manager of the Padres has set this team up for success in the long term. Because now they have finally, as I've been talking about on air for the last 5 or 6 years, they have finally found a Padres identity. What does it mean to be a Padre? Now, I don't know the exact definition of what that is. I don't know what that mission statement might be if we want to go back to coach speak and all the stuff that we constantly hammer into the kids that we coach at Cathedral. But whatever that mission statement is, I know they have found it because you could see it by the way they play. This is something that they didn't have in the past. They never had an identity. The Padres never had an identity before this ownership showed up. before this current team showed up, before some of these stars showed up and helped build the foundation. So when you look at the 100 game mark, the Padres are better than they were last year. I think they're a better team than they were last year through this point, despite all of the problems. And they're in a way better situation. And we haven't even gotten to the trade deadline yet. I mean, who knows what A.J. Preller might be able to assemble here for the San Diego Padres team to help a little bit more. Now, what you need to get is you need to get buy-in from whoever comes in via trade. In years past, without an identity, a lot of those players would be like, all right, well, this is what we did in this city. This is what we did in this organization. Maybe we should try to implement this. And now there's a divide. But now, as I think a lot of these players know, they have that respect level for the leaders of the team, the guys that have been here, right? Like Manny Machado. They understand that the Padres have been successful in the last handful of years, and you can be successful without winning a World Series. If success was only, talked about in a sense of winning a World Series, then there's only one team that has success every single year. So they've been successful. I mean, making the playoffs 3 out of the last 5 years is successful for anybody. So they've been successful. And a lot of teams understand that this team, or should I say players around Major League Baseball, understand this is a fun place to play. The fan base backs the team and sells out the stadium. The ownership is constantly spending money to try to win. A.J. Preller constantly wheeling and dealing to try to win, and the players themselves are in a position where they want to win every single night. And so when you come into an organization like this, when you're acquired at the trade deadline or an offseason move, when there is a culture established, you don't have to start your own, and you buy in to what the organization is doing, which to me shows that I think whoever the Padres bring in, especially the fact that they don't need to get a superstar that might want to do things his own way. They just got out of the margins. I think the identity of the Padres is set, and I think they've embraced it, and I think that's an even bigger reason here in year 2 why they're set up for success for the second half push. And again, I mentioned it yesterday. They never play well in Miami. The Padres never play well in Miami. And yes, they grinded out a 2-1 game last night. In fact, I had somebody on the Facebook pick said, barely beating Miami is worrisome. It's not worrisome when you've seen this team go down there and struggle so many times. I mean, tonight might be a close game. You got Stephen Kolek on the hill. He had some time off. He only made 1 start for El Paso. They're trying to give him some rest. Your 4 horsemen already pitched yesterday. Got to get the offense going a little bit. At this point in time, you just got to win games. But I'm not surprised that the games are close. And I would imagine the games are going to be close here, and I would imagine the games are going to be close in St. Louis. I mean, it's a long road trip that we've seen the Padres do time in and time out around this time of year. But second half push, I think the Padres are set up for success. I think the Padres are set up for success. I think they're set up for more success than they were last year, because not that they weren't winning on the margins last year. I think they've improved upon that. I really think they picked up where they left off last year in terms of their style of play. The first half of the season last year was a little bit different. The first half of last season was establishing how you're supposed to play for Mike Shildt. Second half, they figured it out. Going into this year, I think they picked up from where they left off last year, and now we could see a Mike Shildt second half. Mike Shildt's teams have always been good in the second half. He gets them to buy in. He gets them to play hard. And that's all you're asking for. So we're 100 games in. We got 62 to go. And the Padres are 3.5 games out of first place in the National League West. And they have a 3.5 game cushion on San Francisco, St. Louis, and Cincinnati. Things are looking up for the San Diego Padres right now. Now is the time to strike, especially before they get to August. If they could get to August within 3 games of the Los Angeles Dodgers before having to play them for 2 straight weeks, the Padres are going to be in really good shape. And it's going to go back to my prediction I had for the second half. They are going to make a push for the division. And I think you're starting to see that right now. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. When we come back, we'll get to your phone calls and we'll talk a little bit about what Dennis Lin had in his article today about some trades and some rumors that might be out there. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on. Hour number 2, San Antonio Sports Station, 97 to the Fan. 11 o'clock hour baseball coverage on 97 through the Fan, presented by T-Mobile. At T-Mobile.com, we get a great deal on iPhone 16 Pro. I want Go Aztecs asked about ordering food at Stone Brewery, and our chat did a great job of laying it out for him. We love it. We love the recommendations here. I don't know if I've ever eaten at Stone Brewery, to be honest with you. I think I've only been to Stone Brewery once. I've been to the one in like the San Marcos Escondido area, the one by Palmerado Health or whatever, whatever it is. I think that's the deal. Oh, Escondido. Yeah, Go Aztecs is there getting a lunch. I got an email about La Mesa Oktoberfest. You ever been to La Mesa Oktoberfest?
I have not.
It's pretty fun. We should go. We should hand out shirts there.
Yeah, we should.
I don't know if I'll have enough shirts by Oktoberfest, but I got an email from LeMay. We've gone one time. I've gone one time. My family goes. They try to go a decent amount. But the La Mesa Oktoberfest is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, October 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I can't even go anyway this year. But that being said, I guess I could go. We have a game in San Francisco that weekend, and then I'm back on that Saturday. Anyway, I digress. They sent out a email about buying tickets for it, and in it they have a promo video. I'm in the promo video. At the 52-second mark, I'm wearing a TCU long sleeve shirt in the promo video for La Mesa Oktoberfest. I haven't been in 2 years. Still in the promo video. Me and my family and friends. It's hilarious.
Got to get the Angry Bunny on there somewhere.
Yep. The fierce bunny.
The
make him fierce.
Bunny, yes.
Make a bunny and make him fierce.
Yes.
That kills the chat, dude. They get the riot out of that. As long as you throw that up, dude, while you're playing NCAA 26. Sounds good to me. I just thought that was funny. I'm in the promo video. I'm kind of covered by other people in the front, but you can see my face. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to get to Juan at Oceanside before we dive into this Dennis Lynn article. Juan, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Braden? Just wanted to say those shirts on your Instagram story look pretty sweet. Maybe you can make them for sale online or something. I'd be willing to pay for them.
I'll get you taken care of, Juan.
I appreciate that. But I was calling in because I saw John Heyman on the MLB network talking about the Padres and what our needs are. And I mean, it's things that have been reiterated, but I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on him talking about how it's pretty unlikely that we'll get Jarren Duran, or even that the Red Sox are potentially just going to keep him and not trade him. And, how it looks more likely that we might get our hands on someone like Luis Robert Jr. And, in terms of bullpen help, it seems to me at least likely that we'll get someone like a Mason Miller or a Joan Duran. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, I'd love that Mason Miller, and I'm going to get to that in a second. I appreciate the phone call, Juan. Here's the thing on Luis Robert Jr. He's starting to heat up a little bit, which is great. Almost like the White Sox were like, "Hey, buddy, we need you to start playing well. We need to get you out of here." He's not had a great year. Again, I would take a waiver on Luis Robert Jr. because I think he's more affordable, and as long as he's not the only guy I pick up at the deadline. That would be my kind of stipulations if I was a general manager, which I'm not. I think your change of scenery might do wonders for him. I saw a Gavin Sheets interview a couple of days ago, and he talked about the benefits of the Padres and how they keep things simple, and they eliminate the eyewash. I love hearing that, by the way. They eliminate the eyewash. And so he came from the White Sox. I mean, if the White Sox are shoving a bunch of eyewash down somebody's throat, I mean, it's going to be hard to deal with your everyday, like, there's something called, there's why the phrase of paralysis by analysis. I think we did that with Will Myers a little bit. Gave him too much information. I think we simplified things now. I think with Luis Robert Jr. and simplifying things would be great. Put him out in left field. Now, the thing with Duran, I think Duran not Johan Duran, but I think Jarren Duran. I think acquiring Jarren Duran next couple of years move than just a this year move. We've seen AJ Preller do that too. We've seen AJ Preller want to get guys that have control, so it's a couple of playoff runs, and that way it justifies maybe giving up what might be a little bit too much. So I find that interesting. Here's Luis Robert Jr. since the start of July. Now, he missed some time because of a hamstring injury. But in the month of July, Luis Robert Jr. in 10 games, that's only 10 games, in 38 plate appearances, he's 12 for 33. He's hitting .364 with a .576 slug. He's got 2 pumps, a double, and a .1023 OPS. Maybe he's starting to turn things around a little bit. But Luis Robert Jr., in those 10 games, has only been held hitless once. And he ended up reaching base. So he's been on a on-base streak dating back to July 8th in the 10 games that he's played. Again, he's missed some time with an injury, but he got back to playing on the 8th, played right for the All-Star break, and now in the last couple of days has done pretty well. Had a hit on July 8th, did not get a hit on July 9th, but walked. 1 for 3 on July 11th. Doubleheader, by the way. 1 for 3, 1 for 4 with the home run. 1 for 3, 1 for 4, 2 for 2 with 3 runs scored, a home run, and 2 RBIs. 2 for 4, 1 for 4, 2 for 4. Driving in runs. He steals a lot of bags. He's had 25 stolen bases. I think it's worth a waiver. I think it's worth a waiver. Now, I don't think that should be your only guy, though. It's interesting that Juan brought up Mason Miller. This is a name that I brought up last year, potentially, to go after. And now he's obviously worth a lot more. But I continue to see his name. I continue to see his name pop up in trade rumors. I've seen it multiple times now. And now he's in Dennis Lin's article. Where there's smoke, there is usually fire. And I think all of our beat writers do a great job. But when Dennis Lin mentions it, I usually listen. Because Dennis is usually on a lot of different things. Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's a couple of things that Dennis Lin laid out today that I thought was very intriguing. One of them was the Mason Miller idea. He throws it out as an idea in his article today. And I know Dennis. I think he's a great writer, and I think he's a great reporter. And he is very savvy in what he brings up and why he brings it up. Very savvy. He doesn't just throw crap against the wall and see if it sticks. We don't have really any of those guys here in town, but I do want to mention, he's especially not one of those guys. It's not like he's just coming up with a crazy idea. It's like, oh, I guess they could do this. As a reporter, he's talking to people and he's getting information, and it's leading to some of these things. Here's some things laid out, and we're going to dive into it more in the next segment. Padres into the trade deadline with a complex roster situation. AJ Preller previously balanced short-term pickups with long-term roster planning, and he's likely to do the same again this year. And what Dennis Lin did in his article is he laid out what the roster is going to look like not only this year, but next year, because a lot of these decisions affect next year as well. And the Padres like to kind of plan ahead. Despite underwhelming seasons from Arias and Dylan Cease in terms of their contracts and how they're playing to their contracts, Padres remain playoff contenders. Jason Adam has emerged as a key bullpen piece, while Brian Hoeing and other club-controlled players provide flexibility. Talking about the players that he had acquired last year with multiple years of control, at least 2 years. The team is expected to explore moves to bolster left field, catcher, and starting pitching while continue to shape the 2026 roster. The team's financial structure is committed to long-term to stars like Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Jackson Merrill, Jake Cronenworth. This increases the appeal of targets like a Jarren Duran, which Juan brought up. The catching situation remains unsettled due to Ethan Salas' injury. He is progressing slowly. He's not having any setbacks, but progressing slower than what the Padres would like. Plus, prospects Leo DeVries and Brandon Nett could debut by 2026, but aren't guarantees. He does mention in that article that it's expected that DeVries could make his major league debut next year in 2026 at age 19. I think that plays a factor into another thing that Dennis Lin mentioned in his article. And we're going to get to that in a second. Pitching remains a question mark. Darvish and King are battling injuries. Musgrove recovering from Tommy John. Nick Pivetta has become a key arm, but long-term depth is obviously uncertain. Preller might trade for rentals or even pursue bold moves like A's closer Mason Miller. And just like pull that out of thin air. He didn't just pull that out of you know what. There's a rhyme and a reason to what Dennis Lin puts in his articles. Again, he's an incredibly intelligent person and a great reporter. So the Mason Miller thing I find very intriguing. I don't think it's going to be easy to do. As mentioned on my YouTube page in the chat by Prolific, Dodgers are highly interested in Mason Miller. We've seen those reports. So not only are they interested in Mason Miller, Padres might be interested in Mason Miller. You might get yourself into a little bit of an arms race, which you can't afford to get yourself into. But he's 26 years old. There's one thing that Dennis Lin talked about what the Padres would do with Mason Miller, and we'll talk about that next segment, but also why planning for 2026 is important on certain MLB players now that might be on the trading block. We'll talk about who that is and what the Padres could potentially do next on the Braden Surprenant Show, standing as number one sports station 97 through the Fan. 11:18 on a Tuesday. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Talking a lot about Padres trade deadline. But we did see some news. What do you got? What do you got for us, Frank?
Yeah, that's why we came back with the rejoin that we did. Apparently, Ozzy Osbourne is gone at the age of 76. Just a couple weeks after doing his farewell concert with Black Sabbath. That apparently has been reported by Sky News, and now we're starting to see it more and more from like the Independent, New York Post, and a lot of other news sources. So I was never really the biggest Ozzy Osbourne fan. Of course I enjoyed the music, but I wasn't expecting this one to hurt as much as it is right now. Like I just feel deflated right now.
Yeah, it's not fun dealing with, famous people and people you listen to on music and artists and all the other stuff. But yes, he was a legend for sure. So we'll keep you updated on other on reports on that, but that's reporting from a lot of different entities right now. And he obviously I don't think he was doing very well.
No, he was not in it. He was not in a good state, but still even though you think you're ready to hear it, you're never really truly ready to hear something like that.
Let's go back to what we teased on the Padres. And some interesting things about what was said in the Dennis Lynn article today. And I had it up, and then I lost it. But I'm going to pull it back up. There's a couple of things I want to mention. So we talked about the Mason Miller thing is interesting. This is now the second or third time that I've seen Mason Miller's name out there. Now, yesterday we discussed that Mason Miller, as reported by Ken Rosenthal, is a player that the A's didn't really want to give up. And then they were like, I guess we might be able to give him up. We might be able to, maybe we'll listen. Yeah, we'll listen to like a big deal or something like that. We're thinking about it. Let's talk about it from the perspective of why the Athletics, why would they trade Mason Miller? Well, I could probably give you a lot of different reasons. But to me, and we talked about this, right? Frank, we talked about this with the A's. Was it last week? Maybe 2 weeks ago?
Might have been last week.
It might have been last week.
Heck, it might have been yesterday even. I don't
think it was yesterday.
Days run together now.
When you look at the Athletics, I think it holds a major cog to the trade market at the deadline. The Athletics have a lot of young, controllable talent. They also have some players that are not going to be part of the team when they move to Vegas. And guys that are aging. I think they are an important piece to the trade deadline. So you have to think about strategy. For the Oaklamento A's, the strategy needs to be, if they're following the playbook right, and when you follow this playbook, this is kind of the diabolical sports owner playbook of when you rip the team out of a city and move to new city. What do you want the new city team to be? Very, very good. It's how you get stadiums built. We saw the old Padres ownership do that to build a stadium downtown. What did they do? They loaded up on a roster. They went to the World Series. They lost the World Series, but they got past they got whatever prop to pass. I forget what it was. Was it prop C? I can't remember. It was before my time, but they got it to pass because Padres fans were like, hey, look, the World Series, keep in the town, let's do the stadium, hey. And so they got the new stadium. And then what did they do? They gutted the team after that. Like, we got the new stadium. We don't need it. But we got to get people to show up to the new stadium. So what did the Padres do? They spent a lot of money and loaded up their roster. And you know what they did? They won a division title 2 years in a row. And then they're like, forget this. Let's cut it all again. Again, previous ownership. I'm so glad this ownership is now in control of the Padres because they actually spend money and want the team to do well and they want to win. The previous ones were like, hey, look, let's buy all this real estate around this area that we want to build a brand new stadium, and let's build a brand new stadium and then develop the area around it. So, from that playbook and the Spanos playbook and everybody else that has moved teams or wanted brand new stadiums built by taxpayers have followed is we're going to make our team really good when they move in. So let me ask Frank again, because he knows, or at least he knows the time frame. In what year are the A's expected to throw their first pitch in Las Vegas?
They're still planning on 2028 for opening day 2028.
Which could be 2029 at this rate. I think they finally broke ground. Finally. But it's not completely financed yet, so we'll see how this works. Seen a lot of projects in Vegas start and never finish. Seen a lot of projects in San Diego start and never finish. I was in the Union Tribune almost every day. Okay. So let's just say they want to compete in 2028. Seems fine. Seems fair. Most of the players on the roster right now are probably not in 2028. Luis Severino, not helping them in 2028. In fact, his contract's up before then. He's already 31 years old. He wants out anyway. Brent Rooker, he's 30 years old, about to be 31. He's not helping you in 2028. Even though he's under contract past 2028, he's not a guy that's going to help you in 2028. You want to know why? Because he'll be 35 years old. I don't know if they're opening up the stadium with Brent Rooker. They should get rid of him as quickly as possible. Jeffrey Springs, who they have said is available, he's 32 years old. He's not under contract in 2028. Get rid of him. There's no reason to hang on to these guys. Then you look at some of the young pieces. Now, Shane Langoliers at age 27, I think he should be traded if you're the A's. They don't want to trade him. They want to keep him around. He's 27 years old, but by the time he gets the stadium ready, you better give that guy a contract extension because his last year under contract is 2028 when the stadium opens. JJ Bleday, 27. To me, anybody 25 and younger, you should probably keep over there. Like Tyler Soderstrom, build a team around him. Jacob Wilson. I mean, those are the players. Nick Kurtz. Those are the guys that are young enough that can develop in a couple of years, take their licks in Oclamento, and then move into Vegas as 26, 27-year-old everyday major leaguers, and you got a core group of players. To me, Mason Miller doesn't factor into that. He's 26 years old, about to turn 27. He's under contract for a long time. Obviously, that's what makes it enticing. He's a free agent in 2030. Throws over 100 miles an hour. And so if you're the A's, he's going to be a closer for you. Right now, that's what he is. On a team that's not going to be competitive until at least 2028. He is a luxury you cannot afford. There's no reason for the A's to hang on to him. It would be organizational malpractice to leave this guy on the team. Organizational malpractice. So they need to make him available. Now, whether or not Mason Miller is somebody the Padres can acquire is a different story. He has, again, the rest of this season, and then he gets in arbitration. In 2026 is ARB 1, 2027 ARB 2, 2028 ARB 3, 2029 ARB 4, and then a free agent in 2030. But the question that was laid out by Dennis Lin was the question that I find very interesting about Mason Miller. It's not that he throws 102 miles an hour. It's not that he would be an asset in the Padres bullpen. It's not the fact that he's going to cost a lot of money. No, there's something else that Dennis Lin had mentioned in the article about Mason Miller. And that is why I think the Padres should really consider throwing a lot at Mason Miller to make it happen. Now, I think you can add on the margins with Luis Robert Jr. I still think you need another bat. I'd go get a rental bat again. I'd go get 2 rental bats, and then you think about this for a second. I think you have to really look into what Mason Miller could potentially be in a Padres uniform. Again, he's 27 years old. We talked about this with Adrian Morejon. What is the one thing that Dennis Lin said in his article that has intrigued me about potentially acquiring Mason Miller? We'll tell you when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Anybody else see that the Chargers are getting sued again?
Come on out to San Diego Charger practice here today in San Diego. And while you're
Is that open to the public?
And while you're at it, sign up for our class action lawsuit.
That's great. Chargers face a class action from season ticket holders of the relocation of the 2025 home game against the Chiefs to Brazil.
You hate to see it.
That's awesome.
You hate to see it.
That's awesome. Who else is suing them right now? I mean, add it to the list, right? I mean, shoot. Moving to LA has just...
It's been a great decision for them. It really has. It's been worthwhile. They've had absolutely no controversies, no drama, no anything going wrong. Everything has just been smooth sailing, perfect.
The comments are great. One of the comments on here. All 7 of them got together in the class action suit? What?
Dear God.
Colts gave us season ticket holders a refund for the game against the Falcons that was moved to Berlin. I bet you the Chargers still made you pay for that game. Knowing them. That's probably what it's about. I'll have to look into the report from Pro Football Talk. And we'll talk about that at noon. Chargers are in town for training camp. Who's going? Frank, you going?
No.
I got that thing.
Yeah.
With the guy.
I have.
That's my sister's aunts, uncle's cousin.
Yeah, I have anywhere to be.
Don't you have to paint a fence or something like that? Didn't your buddy Tom convince you to paint a fence?
You know what? That is right. I was asked because there's been a lot of like paint thieves out here recently. So my buddy was going to paint a fence, and then
Your buddy Tom.
Yeah. He was going to ask me to paint he's painting his fence, and then he doesn't want the paint to get stolen, so he's going to make me watch the paint dry on the fence to make sure it doesn't get stolen.
After your buddy Tom Sawyer convinces you to paint the fence and how much fun it is to paint said fence?
Oh no, I'm see, you'll learn this about me. I am allergic to manual labor unless it's something I want to do. So no, there will be no convincing of any fence painting.
I'll look into the details of that class action lawsuit later. Adam Paul did not get the joke, dude. Where does he live that paint is being stolen? Nobody's stealing paint, dude. It's just a joke. We'd rather do that than go to the...
I'm going to a
Chargers
Coldplay concert instead. That is accurate.
Nate, that might be a tough battle for you, dude. I don't know if that's necessarily the best idea. All right. Let's talk about it a second. Talk about Mason Miller. We got some people that don't want to see it. Oh, we're going to get fleeced. He's a negative guy all the time. Captain Negative in there. I might have to start him. We might have to change his name to Captain Negative. Just negative all the time. I've never seen him positive about anything. Captain Negative. Trying to poo-poo the report here. Anyway. Here's what it says in Dennis Lynn's article. Again, where there's smoke, there's fire. Might Preller be bold enough to say, pursue Athletics closer Mason Miller with the idea of stretching him out as a starter next season? The general manager is prone to exploring all avenues for potential improvement. It's very interesting. To me, that makes more sense. Now, Mason Miller came up as a starting pitcher. He was a starter before he became a reliever. He has had some elbow problems. Okay? So, that is something to worry about. But at age 26, and having control over this guy for a long period of time makes it more intriguing to potentially bring him in a trade. Now, this season, he's 1-2 with a 4 ERA, but he does have 57 strikeouts on the season to 17 walks. He's pitching in a ballpark that's not conducive to pitching. You can listen to Luis Severino bitch about it. He does that a lot. But to me, the thing that makes sense about this deal is if you decide to make him into a starting pitcher. I think it's worth a try. If not, then you got a guy that's going to be your closer for the next 5, 6, 7 years. You don't have to worry about that spot anymore. And he's going to be probably the most affordable closer in Major League Baseball. And the Dodgers really want him. Now, seeing him end up in a Dodgers uniform and have to deal with him for the next 5 years is going to be very frustrating to see. Dodgers already have the best team money can buy. They still can't keep anybody healthy. I mean, the worst thing for Mason Miller's career if he ends up being a Los Angeles Dodger. Probably get hurt again. But I think it's worth the trade, and I think it's worth giving up a starting pitcher coming up through the ranks for a guy like Mason Miller. I honestly, I think it is. And Prolific in the chat said, we'll trade Jake Cronenworth and Robert Suarez for Mason Miller. The A's don't want those guys. The A's don't want those guys. As we said before, neither of those players are helping the A's win in 2028 just as much as most of the A's players currently aren't helping the A's win in 2028. Why is 2028 significant? Well, that's when they move into Las Vegas. So I find it intriguing. And again, this is why it's so hard to predict the trade deadline with A.J. Preller. You don't know what he's going to do. This has A.J. Preller written all over it. And again, this is the second time I've seen Mason Miller's name dropped in. So they're not going to trade Cronenworth and Suarez. But what would be interesting would be them parting ways with Suarez or Cronenworth, maybe getting some prospects back as they trade with a contender. Because the teams that are going to want Jake Cronenworth or Robert Suarez would be contenders. Those are the ones that are going to want those players. So you maybe get some prospect capital back that can add to your farm that then you can deal away at the deadline and go get an arm like Mason Miller, go get a bat like Luis Robert Jr., and who knows, if you're deciding to part ways with a guy like Jake Cronenworth, you might need another bat in there. So maybe you get another fringe bat and you go get your Jarren Duran deal. There's a lot of different moves. And what the point of this exercise, I'm not even going to try to pretend to come up with a trade that involves prospects because I don't know how other teams evaluate the Padres prospects. I don't know how they do that. So I don't know how valuable these guys are to other teams. And if you look at, and we're gonna talk more about this later in the week, Jeff Passan updated his top fits at the deadline for every team. Again, it's mostly positional fits. There's too many. He's got guys that play for the Diamondbacks that are on there that might be a link to the Padres. The Diamondbacks are never trading anybody to the Padres. Just knowing that organization, they're never going to do it. I'd like to see Stephen Kwan in a Padres uniform. I think that'd be great. But the thing that Dennis Lin mentioned the most about this trade deadline and strategy is working out next year's lineup. So with doing so, here's the deal about Jake Cronenworth. As we move off from Mason Miller, move to the other glaring news about Jake Cronenworth. Your second baseman currently, Luis Arraez. I don't know if the Padres bring him back next year. I don't think they do that. Yeah, I think the Padres value him more than anybody else in Major League Baseball. But if you let him walk, you could move Jake to first base instead of trading him. They expect, this latest report had, do not be surprised if Leo DeVries is on the Major League team in 2026. And if he's on the Major League team in 2026, that means he's probably playing shortstop. But Xander Bogaerts has shown this year that he's still got a couple years that he could play at shortstop, even though he's done well moving over to second base, and he could probably do that again next year. But you got to start thinking about piecing the roster together for 2026 as you make said moves. So you trade away a Jake Cronenworth, right? Leo DeVries comes up. This is from the report. I'm not saying this is what they should be doing. Leo DeVries comes up. He plays shortstop next year. Xander Bogaerts moves. Evan Sheets can go back to playing first and being a DH. And then who knows what you can add in free agency. But if you trade away Jake Cronenworth, that's $12 million off the books for the next 4 years. I think it's worth the conversation when it comes to the Jake Cronenworth scenario. Now, take this for what it's worth. Eric Hosmer said on a tweet today, and I'm not saying this is true. I'm not saying it's not true. But he tweeted out the Padres getting interest on Jake Cronenworth that this means they're shopping him. I mean, it's not surprising to me that they would be shopping him anyway. That's why I think it's plausible. Because during the offseason, they were kind of shopping Jake Cronenworth. I think losing Jake Cronenworth this year would sting, but knowing that you have to pay him for a decent amount of time. And I don't think, maybe his contract's a little bit better now because of inflation and because he's, that's kind of the going rate for players. But Cronenworth is getting $12 million a year until 2030. He's already 31, and he's going to turn 32. So let's go 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. He's going to be 36 years old when that contract is done. I think you're getting the best of Jake Cronenworth right now. So if you could if you could convince a team to grab him and you get a prospect or somebody back, maybe a couple of pieces that you can potentially trade away to acquire more talent, I think it's worth it. Because I think you have some options mixed in there. I think you have some options you can play. Again, you're thinking about not just 2025, but you got to think about 2026. That's kind of what this last hour's been about situationally. The Mason Miller thing, I think, is interesting on a sense of maybe him being a starting pitcher. He came up as a starting pitcher, and if you decide to make him a starting pitcher, I think it's worth trading top assets for that. Because he'd be a starting pitcher that you would have for a lot of years, and he'd be very affordable. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. It's time for our sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, here's Frank.
Boy, we got a lot of stuff going around with the NFL today, especially with the Players Association, as former NFLPA Executive Director Lloyd Howell Jr. has resigned his part-time consulting job with the Carlyle Group, which is one of a select group of league-approved firms seeking minority ownership in NFL franchises. Howell's side job as an operations executive with Carlyle's aerospace and defense investment team was among several issues to emerge in the weeks before his abrupt resignation from the NFLPA's top job on Thursday. A Carlyle Group spokesman confirmed Monday that Howell had resigned, but declined to say when. The spokesman also declined to comment on any specifics related to the resignation from his role. This collusion thing is just getting murkier and murkier, and it's showing just how wide this can spread, even in the NFLPA.
Collusion. It's also like corruption.
Yeah.
It's just like, what? We've talked about this before. And here's the thing. We're going to get to this later on about the MLB Players Association. I mean, the FBI is investigating the MLB Players Association and the NFL Players Association. That's ongoing. Fun stuff.
Bless you.
But I think it's more the NFL's got the worst players association in all professional sports, and you're seeing it in full color right now.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean, what are they doing? Like,
this guy was
politics, man. Politics.
This guy is heading up the NFLPA while being a part of an investment group to purchase franchises. Like, what are we doing
Conflict
here?
of interest much?
Exactly. Like, what are we doing here, NFL?
Unbelievable.
Reason 9,487,274
Then they looked
why I
into
hate
him,
the NFL.
and he had all these other lawsuits about him that apparently the players did not know before they elected him last year, a year and a half ago, to be the new rep of the Players Association. It's just like, what are we doing? Players Association, what are we doing? Like, they got to clean house out of everybody. That the players in that Players Association, everybody in the NFL, needs to just be like, everybody's fired. We're starting.
Exactly. 110%.
Number 2.
We talked about yesterday how Memphis tried to buy its way into the Big 12 with a $200 million offer that included not getting paid, basically a 5-year tryout. The Big 12 had a very quick and very swift response to that, and the answer was walk.
The answer was get the freak out, is what the Big 12 basically said.
The school would have secured between $200 million and $250 million in various sponsorship commitments as part of the bid to join the league, according to one of the authors here. Memphis submitted its final proposal in early July, but internal discussions were brief, and the Big 12 board showed no interest in adding Memphis to the conference at this time. Was this the Big 12 not wanting to start a new precedent, or was it they really have no interest in adding Memphis?
I think they have no interest in adding Memphis. Couple of things. I do know my alma mater, TCU, had such a, and I was on the last trip they made to the Liberty Bowl, had such a bad time in Memphis that they vowed to never go back.
Really?
That's the rumor around the school. Now,
Graceland wasn't enough, huh?
Yeah, I didn't get to go to Graceland. They did. But it was such a bad bowl game. They were like, we never want to go back. Now, here's the thing. You're not going to turn down bowl games. So last year they ended up going to the New Mexico Bowl, and the rumor was they refused to go to the Liberty Bowl, which I can't imagine being the case, right? I mean, for people I know that are bowl game guys, like you would never turn it down, but that's what the rumor was. I do know the powers to be at TCU wanted nothing to do with going to Memphis again, and I would imagine there was more than just them on the whole Memphis thing. Here's the other thing. If they really wanted Memphis, they would have added them the first time. Yeah. Because who makes more sense in the Big 12 conference? Memphis or UCF? Memphis or Cincinnati? It's Memphis. It's definitely Memphis. They have good basketball. They got a giant stadium, which is run down. Thank God they're remodeling it. That might have been out of Qualcomm Stadium. The closest thing to crappiest stadium I've ever been to was probably the Liberty Bowl. I'm telling you, it was a lot of different things. The money wasn't enough. I would be surprised if FedEx just decides, what about $300 million? Think about this for the perspective of Pac-12 offered him last year. Memphis said, we're good. We'd rather pay, not collect any money, and potentially get kicked out of this particular conference than join your power conference. That's all I need to know about that situation. Now, I do think they probably need another team. I think there might be some negotiation that might lay out. I don't know how much of an asset Memphis brings to the Big 12.
At least you don't have a heartfelt opinion on the subject. We can just move on now.
Number 3.
As Micah Parsons looks for a significant contract extension with the Dallas Cowboys, he and team owner Jerry Jones have not been shy when vocalizing their thoughts. With training camp around the corner, the notable sound bites aren't stopping. Jones seemingly took a shot yesterday at the star pass rusher when speaking and did not exactly have all the facts correct while doing so. Classic Jerry Jones. Jones said, quote, "Just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously?" Contracts are 4-5 years, okay? There's a lot of water under the bridge if you step out there and do something in the first 2 or 3.
I'm sorry, are you trying to directly read quotes from Jerry Jones?
I know.
That's unfortunate.
You can get hit by a car. Seriously.
I can't believe he said
So
that.
there's a lot to look at over years that could make a big difference. Really, Jerry? Are we for real at this point?
He is the reason. I've said this so many times about Jerry. To all my Cowboys friends. You guys will never win with Jerry Jones in charge. He is a great business owner. He is a great businessman. He makes a lot of deals. He's getting up there in age. But you know what he can't do? He can't build an NFL football team in terms of a roster. Because if he could, he would have won a Super Bowl by now. He hasn't. He won with Jimmy Johnson's guys. Jimmy Johnson built that team. Jimmy Johnson is the one that won the Super Bowls for the Dallas Cowboys. Even though they won one after Jimmy Johnson, that was still Jimmy's team. He cannot build a roster. You notice it. He is the reason the Cowboys are never going to win a Super Bowl. Is because of him. And every time I say that, Cowboys fans go, "Oh, we love Jerry. Oh my God." It's like, dude, get somebody else to run the team, not your kids. Bring in a real general manager. If they brought in a real general manager, you know what they would have done? They would have signed Micah Parsons first and then Dak Prescott, and then they would have told CeeDee Lamb at the end of his contract to kick rocks and got somebody else for him. That's what the good teams in the NFL are doing. The Cowboys, everything opposite. And then you trashed Micah Parsons at training camp. Like, what are you doing? That team will never win with Jerry Jones in charge.
I'll never give ESPN credit, but one of their analysts said today, if God made a deal, said, Jerry Jones, you can win 3 Super Bowls right now, you just can never do another press conference, Jones would say no deal.
God. Braden Surprenant show continues.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
Lunchtime hour on 97 through the fans, presented by Kraft Taco. Both flavors at 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. Anybody mind if Rod has a day, huh? 97 through the fans' biggest fan from this year, who won the contest, Rod, is having himself a Tuesday. I asked him what's for lunch. He usually tells us what's for lunch. I like to live vicariously through Rod's lunch. Rod goes to the greatest places in San Diego all the time. But you know what Rod's doing today, Frank? Have you seen what Rod's doing today?
What is old Roderick doing this afternoon?
Rod today is cooking at the shop.
No way.
He's grilling burgers at the shop.
Attaboy. Look
He
at
tweeted
you.
at us. Burgers at the shop. He's got he's got some cheeseburgers down, some hamburgers, charcoal grill. Got to be charcoal grill.
All right. This is where we do this is where we full on Gordon Ramsay it here. Hold on.
Are you going to pull up his thing?
Yeah, where are we?
He tweeted at me.
He tweeted at you. That's not the show account, Rod.
I retweeted it from the thing. Grilling burgers at the shop. And you just see what else is on there when you see it?
Hold on. Oh, there's so much bacon on there.
They piled up. I mean, he is grilling some serious bacon.
You know what, Rod? You get a pass on those. Those look good. I would have one.
What size are those? Those are like at least a half pound.
And Bud, that bacon is done. Any more than we have problems. That bacon is done.
Would you like bacon as raw as possible?
Well, not as raw as possible, but I don't like them.
You don't like crispy bacon?
Yeah, no, I don't like it.
I used to not like crispy bacon. Now I like all bacon. I do not discriminate in bacon. I like it all.
No, I'll eat. I will definitely eat crispy bacon, but I would not prefer my bacon to fall apart in my mouth the way, I don't know, drywall would.
I'm sorry? Drywall? Is that what you said? You
Yes.
just compared the crunchy bacon to drywall?
Yeah.
Some salty drywall, dude. That's disgusting.
That's your concern, is the salt in the drywall, not the fact that I would be eating drywall in that
to each their own, dude.
hypothetical.
To each their own. I don't know. I will say this, like I like to so we're grilling up on Labor Day, right? We've talked about this.
Yes.
We got Padres baseball against the Orioles, earlier game, and then we got TCU North Carolina. I've been locked in. I've watched multiple Sonny Dykes press conferences already. I'm reading depth charts. I got the Phil Steele. I'm getting locked in for the season. I'm getting excited for TCU Horned Frog football.
You've already beat North Carolina.
I did it on NCAA 26. That means nothing. The last time we played a high media coach in an opener for the season, it did not go very well. And I hope Sonny Dykes learned his lesson. He said it in the last press conference that he just did when he's talking to a bunch of high school coaches. He said, well, I did not have them ready to go, did not have them prepared. I will have them prepared against Bill Belichick. All right, sounds good. Anyway, so we're doing the brisket, right? I've just kind of spurred the bacon on the charcoal has inspired me a little bit here because you're going to like this, Frank. If you like bacon, you're going to like this.
Uh-oh.
I like smoking pork belly.
Okay.
Have you ever had smoked pork belly?
If I had, it's been a long time since
It's
I
good. It's good. The problem is I have all this. I don't need to eat all this pork belly. Like I think we made pork belly tacos one time.
Mm-hmm.
Get a little bit of crunch on the fat side. But pork belly's good, and they got a lot of them at Costco. So what we could do, listen,
I don't really have much of a choice right now.
hash cut it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's cross cut into cubes, but like you're smoke the whole thing. Chop it up into cubes.
Mm-hmm.
Pork belly burn ends might be in play on Labor Day.
Okay.
Might be in play on Labor Day.
Fair enough.
I think that's a good little appetizer.
Yeah.
Now, I'm running out of space in the Traeger right now. If I got a pork belly, I got a brisket. I don't know about the rib. Maybe I do the ribs on a little induced smoke from the charcoal grill. That's also a possibility. We got options here. Frank.
See, here's the thing. You're speaking to somebody who doesn't exist anymore after October 24th of last year. So
it's true.
It's a little bit of a problem.
Adam Paul's having steaks today on a Tuesday. Some porterhouse steaks. I know you can get those at the Santee Costco. Those are pretty good. But we're getting locked in for college football. I have turned into a college football fan since the departure of the Chargers, as well as me working for a college football team. Okay,
kind of helps things along.
Helps things along. We've been pretty good over the last handful of years. Okay, so it's a little bit different when you go to other schools that buy into college football, other cities that buy into college football. It's a little bit different.
Now, did you guys make a national championship game, or did you just erase that night from your memory entirely?
We did. In fact, Sonny Dykes talked about that.
Okay, so we are still claiming the national championship.
Who's the only team that beat Michigan in those 2 years?
Gotcha.
I'm just saying. Everybody wants to take away that win.
No, that's fair. Yeah. No, I'm not saying take away the win. I'm just saying, like a night like that, some people want either embrace the fact that they were at least there.
We're in it.
And some will also just completely block it from memory.
We're in it. I was physically there. I can't block it out from memory. I was physically there. All the haters were out that day. All the people that don't like me on the radio thought it was a perfect time to kick me when I was down. I was like, okay.
I remember I felt so bad for you.
That was rough. Dude.
I felt awful for you.
That's why, like when Woodsy said, like it's better just get your ass kicked than to lose a close game. BS, dude. I'd rather take the close game because at least be like, we're in it. Yeah, at one point it was 10-7. Max Duggan scored. Hey, maybe turn things around, but the defense didn't show up. It looked like they're happy to be there. I don't like talking about that game too much.
Especially when it was so out of hand so late, because then you just got to watch them get dragged across the field for an hour.
Spent all the money. It's like I've been up there all day.
It's like that's just awful.
It was still cool. I've been to a national championship. Would have been better.
Had you been on the winning end of it.
Even if they lost by like a touchdown or something, I'd been like, it would have been better. And I gave it our all. Couldn't say that about that performance. But anyway, as we get geared up for that, I think about what would have been, especially with that team in town. So the Chargers are practicing the next 2 days at USD. And Tom Krasovic had a column in it. He goes through the whole relocation thing. I'm not going to bore you with some topics that we've done multiple times. Sounds like sour grapes from Charger fans in San Diego, but, you know, our former Charger fans. But there's a couple of things yesterday and with this move, and there's things like kind of matriculating that are getting my wheels turning on some other things. And this is, and yesterday, the reality of the situation was seeing the video of Phillip Rivers officially retiring a Charger. You know, that kind of brought back some memories. There's a couple of things the last couple of weeks that have brought back memories. My brother just moved in to a new place with his buddies over in Serra Mesa. And in order to get to his house, I got to drive up that hill by the stadium. Everybody knows that hill. I remember walking up that hill because a lot of people, because of parking, would drive up that hill and park at the houses in Serra Mesa. They like the houses would be like $10, $20 to park. We'll watch your car, whatever. And then you'd walk down in the stadium. I have fun memories of doing that. I have memories of getting dropped off on that hill before Uber. You know, when I went to a couple games as a high schooler. I remember walking up that hill after wins, thinking it was the easiest hill to walk up. I remember walking up that hill after Ray Lewis shot the gap on 4th and whatever and tackled Darren Sproles in the backfield for a loss against the Ravens at Qualcomm Stadium. That was a rough time walking up that hill. But I thought about that and their location of where they're at, proximity to the stadium area. My brother has a good time. Well, he'll go down to the park down there and do a lap around the stadium's a mile, the current one. And I think of like what could have been, right? I just think of the fond memories of being a Chargers fan in San Diego. And I think you can embrace that and still dislike the Chargers. We've had a lot of fond memories of that. And people had more fond memories than me. I mean, there was people that would tailgate all the time, and they would only see these people at tailgating, or they'd only see their family at these tailgates. It's been a tradition forever. And so I see Phillip Rivers in his video. I couldn't even watch the whole thing. I was going to get choked up a little bit. I kind of fast forwarded through, but Phillip Rivers yesterday officially retiring as a San Diego Charger. I'm not going to mention LA. He was barely up there. Team he led for 16 seasons. He built his legacy. Though he last played in 2020 with the Colts, Rivers had always intended to retire with the franchise where he became a star. And now that has finally happened. Rivers called the decision deeply personal, rooted in gratitude. Quote, "It's really, in the past handful of years, been my desire to retire as a Charger." And the Chargers did a good job with that. I don't like giving them credit, but they honored the moment by surprising Rivers at his house in Alabama with 4 of his longtime offensive linemen, Nick Hardwick, Chris Dealman, Marcus McNeil, and Jeremy Clary, where they got to create an emotional reunion that reflected their shared history. You see a bunch of highlights at Qualcomm Stadium. Chargers president John Spanos said the organization had long discussed the timing with Rivers and wanted the moment to feel right for him. Spanos praised Rivers for his competitiveness, his leadership, and loyalty, calling him one of the most important players in franchise history. Here's Rivers' accomplishments. 8-time Pro Bowler, holds 30-plus franchise records, started 224 consecutive games. He is the franchise leader in passing yards, touchdowns, completions, pass attempts, and led the Chargers to 4 straight AFC West titles in 2000 from 2006 to 2009, all members of the San Diego Chargers. And now he's the head football coach at St. Michael's Catholic High School, not to be confused with St. Michael's Catholic School in Poway, which he used to send his kids to, or Catholic school, and it's a K through 8. Rivers remains close to the game, but will forever be remembered in a Charger blue and gold. So I look at, that, and they're playing highlights, and I think about all the fond memories I have. I fond memories of my aunt taking me to Charger games. My aunt, who's no longer with us, who passed away when I was in college, used to take me to a lot of sporting events as a kid. She was kind of like an extra parent that I had. She was also my godmother. And so I see this stuff, and I remember most of my memories with my aunt were at Padre games, but really at Charger games, because for a long time, she had the family season tickets. So my great-grandmother, Annette, in fact, she knows, Bill Center knows who she was because she used to work at the Union Tribune. She was a receptionist at the Union Tribune forever. She loved sports. My great-grandmother, Annette, had season tickets to every team in town. She had Padre season tickets. She had Charger season tickets, Goals, Clippers at the time, Rockets at the time, whatever San Diego sport it was. My great-grandmother had those tickets. Eventually, she ended up selling them off and whatever. When she passed away, she still had the San Diego Charger tickets, and she gave them to our family. My aunt picked them up for a long time. And my aunt used to take me to all these games. We used to sit, it was Plaza level 30-something. I forget what it was exactly. But all I know, the vantage point is I was on the Charger sideline, in the corner where the little scoreboard was, and I could look right down the goal line at Qualcomm Stadium. And the people around us were great. I mean, it was a family area. You didn't have to worry about crazy drunk people. You didn't have to worry about the other team fans infiltrating that area. It's the same people that had the season tickets, and that was the only time I'd ever see those people as a kid growing up. And so when I look at the highlights, the Phillip Rivers, I think about all the games that I went to growing up at Qualcomm Stadium. And the ones that I remember the most, and again, a lot of you got to experience 1994. I was unable to experience that. I was not alive yet. But I remember that Ravens game that the Chargers lost. Everybody was mad at North Turner because Darren Sproles got the handoff, got smoked on 4th and 2 on a draw play. That, by the way, the week before, ripped off a touchdown run against the Raiders and walked it off against the Raiders in Oakland. Ray Lewis was on that play, but I remember that one. I remember the game that they played vividly against the Broncos on Sunday Night Football. I remember watching the first time they played in Denver, where Hockley screwed San Diego out of a win in Denver. And I remember them having to win 4 straight games at the end of the season And that final game on Sunday Night Football against Jay Cutler and the boys to go to the playoffs, I remember the Chargers winning that game. I was at that one. And there's other ones here and there. I mean, they played a random game. I remember a random game I went to against the Bucks that they won. I remember going to Raider games, thinking it was funny seeing some of the fans. But you go through those memories and you think about like what could have been or what it would be like if they were still here. And so with the retirement of Phillip Rivers, and I think you got to pay your flowers to him for sure, for what he has done for the community of San Diego. And I think you could still like former San Diego Chargers and the good memories that it brought, even though you don't like that organization. You don't like the Spanos family that owns the team, that took the team out of San Diego. I mean, I think about the memories of Phillip Rivers. I mean, not even games that I was at. I mean, that guy went and played his ass off with a torn ACL against the Patriots, and the Chargers were winning late in that game. I mean, Antonio Cromartie got a pick late in that game. I thought we were going to the Super Bowl. And then they came up short. I mean, the game that they had the week before where he tears his ACL, and that wasn't really Phillip Rivers, but in Indianapolis where Billy Volek had to lead the charge, and they took care of the Colts again in the postseason. I think of that. I think of the Antonio Cromartie one-handed interception against Payne. Still talk about today. I still talk about it today. None of the kids on my team have any idea what I'm talking about. All they know about is Antonio Cromartie's oldest son that plays football at Modern Day because they play against him all the time. I think of Eric Weddle and the legacy that he has here in San Diego. He's now coaching at Rancho Bernardo. I mean, there's so many former Chargers that are now coaching. It's cool to see them in the community. They're all right here in San Diego. And so you think about some of these memories that spark up and the fond memories that you had, and now the memories, at least for me, that I can't necessarily share with my kids or my future kids. I don't have kids yet. About what San Diego professional football was here in town. And so I think that's what makes ex-Charger fans even more angry when you see the Chargers do all of this Bush League stuff, right? Like coming down to San Diego for a couple of days to do training camp. It's like they understand that most of the fans are still here in San Diego. They understand that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be coming down to USD to practice for 2 days. It's appealing to what the Charger fans in San Diego wanted uniform-wise from the get-go about the powder blue, doing that exactly when they moved to LA by giving us the bird. And then again, going back to those deals, going back to the navy blue that a lot of us that are millennials grew up watching, with LaDainian Tomlinson breaking the rushing touchdown record in those uniforms and getting picked up by that most of that offensive line that I mentioned moments ago that greeted Phillip Rivers in Alabama. And I think about some of the players. I mean, they understand the importance of San Diego. I mean, I was fortunate enough to talk to Jacob Hester at the Army-Navy game a couple of years ago. We remember Jacob Hester. He was a great fullback for the Chargers. He had a great career as a San Diego Charger. Most of his kids were born in San Diego. They love San Diego. And it's hard for him to be like, this is where Dad played, because a lot of them didn't remember. It's not even there anymore with the stadium. Eric Weddle has made this place his home. He's coaching at Rancho Bernardo. Leggett Nane has made this place his home. He's coaching at Del Norte. And the thing to me that really stands out is one of the lone guys, and I don't know how many of these potential players are still out there and for the Chargers because I don't pay attention as much. But Denzel Perryman said it in a press conference yesterday about San Diego. And now he's been one of the guys that has worn San Diego Charger stuff in LA for a long time. I don't know if he still does it, but for one point, it looked like, I don't think he ever wore LA Charger stuff. But he was asked about coming back to San Diego to practice, and he said, I don't know why we haven't done this sooner. I love San Diego, and this is where it all started. So for all these memories that we have as San Diegans about the Chargers, and for all this hatred that we have towards that team and towards that organization for betraying us, it's those memories and seeing Phillip Rivers that gives me that sense of always holding out hope that maybe they return or maybe you get another chance at an NFL team. And that's why it's exciting to see a potential stadium get built in the South Bay. It's why it's interesting to me that the Chargers are trying to appeal to San Diego a little bit more. And it's interesting to see a couple of things that have been wheeling and dealing because it gets your hopes up. But as we know, as people that believe in a baseball team, the San Diego Padres that have keep the faith, that's why I always will keep the faith. Despite all the negative people out there that might be like, it will never happen, or like money-wise, it will never happen, they're never going to sell, any of this stuff, you can still keep that hope. And I saw Chris Dealman yesterday on that video. He's wearing a Padres hat. I mean, these players know. They'd much rather be in San Diego than anything else. So that all kind of stemmed from Phillip Rivers. I appreciate Phillip Rivers for everything that he had given the city of San Diego. You saw it when they honored him a handful of years ago at the Salute to Champions dinner when he was in tears. And so it was great to see Phillip Rivers get the accolades he deserves and get the retirement he deserves. And hopefully, I don't know if they announced if they're retiring his number, but you can't tell the story about the San Diego Chargers without talking about Phillip Rivers. So I think that needed to be said. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We went way over. I had to get some of that stuff in there, but we'll get your phone calls when we come back on this Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.2 The Fan. Noon lunchtime hour brought to you by Craft Taco. Both flavors, the two locations, Sereno Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. We're going to need a contestant for our midday sports standoff coming up next segment. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Do you want to get your phone calls? I went super late on that last break. I know I went super late. I'm announcing it now before I get talked to after the show. Frank, you guys went really late. Yep. We're going to try to bounce back here. Brad Escondido, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Brad?
Longtime Padre and Charger fan, 1970. I hung up my Charger support after Rivers retired because I loved his spirit and spunk. Remember that conversation with Jay Cutler across the field in that game was phenomenal when he was yelling at him. I thought he brought the epitome of what this team was about, was just get down in the dirt and let's win. Loved him as a Charger. Missed him.
Absolutely. It's a lot of feels yesterday watching that because you're starting to see the end of the players that connect you to that team, the guys that were still in San Diego. And right now, I think it's only Denzel Perriman, at least on the Chargers, that is a San Diego guy. But when you start seeing those players start to retire now, and not even be in the league anymore, that's where it starts to hurt a little bit more, and you're starting to see, a couple more, go down memory lane a little bit more. Brad, I appreciate the phone call. Let's get out to Ron in San Diego. Ron, what's going on, man?
Hey, I'm a longtime Charger fan. I just wanted to say that hill you were talking about that's now called Corio Pass and has been for about the last 30 years. Just thought I would tell you that. The other thing was I had tickets 40 years, some wonderful times, some heartbreaking times. During the Spanos years, I used to track it. They were 30 games under 500. It would be nice if they sold the team and bring them back.
It would be nice, Ron. Absolutely. I don't think there's anything imminent on that. Season ticket holders are suing the Chargers, which is hilarious, for that game in Brazil. But again, this talked about, we're not a Chargers show. We're not going to talk about the Chargers. But, Phillip Rivers was great for San Diego. And he officially announced his retirement. And that's why we're getting into this conversation. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Dylan in Tirasana, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Dylan? Dylan, are you there? We got one other phone call, which I don't even know if it's a person or not. We get a lot of telemarketers that jump in too. So I'll let Frank screen that, and then we'll get off and running. And it's not. Telemarketer?
No, we're paying attention.
Nice. Even better. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. It was tough going out. I mean, there's a lot of memories of tailgates, Frank. There's a lot of memories of going to a game with my aunt, who is no longer with us, who was my godmother that used to take me to all these deals. And that's the stuff that really upsets San Diegans with the Chargers. That's the stuff that you think about when they end up leaving.
No, absolutely. And I almost went through the same thing when the New York Islanders were coming up on their contract with the Nassau Coliseum, and that referendum didn't get passed. And this was before the Barclays Center was like really an option. So I know how you guys feel about, losing a team that you've spent so much time, money, emotional effort into rooting for. And it is a lot of memories, but again, like you just said, it's not necessarily the on-field memories that you hold on to the closest. It's who you were there to experience those moments with.
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, I remember a lot of the games that I've attended at Qualcomm. There's a lot of games I attended at Qualcomm that are also great memories that are not even Charger games.
Yeah.
Aztec tailgates at Qualcomm. I mean, I remember a couple of the Padre games there. I mentioned to my parents the other day about, kids run the bases on Sundays. I never got to do that at Petco Park. I did it at Qualcomm.
There you go.
I always did it at Qualcomm.
I had moved here. I think it was the second year that Petco was open was my first year here. So I never.
How many events did you get to go to Qualcomm? for
my
anything.
my first event out in San Diego was Monster Jam at Qualcomm.
I remember
That
going to
was
the
the first
Supercross at Qualcomm a lot.
Yeah, that was my first.
I remember CIF championships at Qualcomm, which were fun.
Yeah, I went to Monster Jam there. There were a couple of San Diego State games. I remember one against Hawaii.
That's pretty on par.
One Charger Giant game I went to, and I think that was pretty much it. We didn't come up this way all that often.
The CIF championship games were fun going there. I remember my dad, when he coached at Saints, they'd play in D3, so they'd kick off at like 1 o'clock for their game. And so I got to get out of school only when they made it, which was super cool. So I got to get out of school, go to Qualcomm and watch the high school football game. And then I was able to play in a CIF championship. I got to play on that field, which was super cool. It was actually against your alma mater.
I think it was my sophomore year when Olympian went to the CIF championship game, if I remember correctly.
We played in my junior year in the stadium. We came up on top by a lot.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say on that. But it was cool. Like,
doesn't bother me. Don't worry.
You go in the locker room and everything like that. It was such a cool experience for a kid. And I remember everybody would be like, well, it's too big. Like, the kids aren't going to, I'm telling you right now, the kids
it's
like playing in big
experience.
stadiums.
It doesn't matter.
It was the Randy Moss caught a touchdown pass here on Monday Night Football.
Yep.
Like, this is the coolest place ever. I don't care how much of a dump it is. It's our dump. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we'll get to more of your phone calls, and we'll get to the Midday Sports Standoff on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We're in the new lunchtime hour, which means we're going to need a contestant for our midday sports standoff coming up in a little bit. If you could take me down to sports trivia, you'd be qualified to win our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Park MGM Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Motley Crue on September 19th, and a $100 gas card. Catch Motley Crue's Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM September 12th through October 3rd. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Taking your phone calls right now as well on the show before we get to the midday sports standoff. Again, really appreciate you guys making our day a part of yours. Obviously, with Phillip Rivers retiring officially yesterday as a Charger, in the fields for a lot of Charger fans in San Diego. And that's the only reason why we brought it up. I'm not talking about their training camp. I'm not talking about them getting ready for the season. I don't really care. But I still think it's good to look back on some great memories that you had with a lot of great people. And as Frank really put, it's the memories you have with the people that you experienced this stuff with that really matters. We're going to get to a phone call in just a little bit. I'm trying to get a contestant for our midday sports standoff as well. But let's get to Ahmad in San Diego. Ahmad, you're on the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on, man?
Hey, Braden, pleasure. Frank, also a pleasure. Braden, I've been hearing you for like 3 years, battling coach. I've always enjoyed you. I love that you're still on.
Thank you.
I had season tickets for about 7 years. My first year was Drew Brees' last. And my cousin was a Boy Scout. I'll try to make it quick. And now he's like his friends in the council. So we used to hand out the Charger Times with Ace Park and get him for free, front row, every game.
It's awesome.
I was there when LT broke the record. I was there for all of Phillip Rivers' things. They can leave, they can rip a heart out of the city, but they'll never take the memories that we had, all the tailgating and the fun we had, all the records, and that whole Phillip Rivers, LT Merriman era. We would have won a championship with Breeze, but that's besides the point. But Phillip Rivers made it fun. He went out there and he battled every day. Someone said that when he was up there battling with Denver, we all hate Jay Cutler now,
That's right.
So, Phillip Rivers retiring. I'm a little older. I was born in 78, so my last guy retiring was Brett Favre. That's when I knew I was old. But Phillip Rivers retiring, when he left, I was like, yeah, he went to the Colts, and I was like, he lost in the playoffs. I was like, it's his fault, but he was a winner, man. Circumstances like kicking and things like that demolished us, and special teams. They couldn't stop a kick return. It was Phillip Rivers always went out there and put his heart in. When he won me is when he had 2 knee surgeries, and LT was on the sideline in the snow in New England trying to beat the Patriots by himself. That's when he won my heart. And
Absolutely.
I appreciate your time.
Absolutely, Ahmad. You bring up a lot of good memories, obviously. Phillip Rivers officially announcing his retirement with the Chargers. A lot of great memories in a San Diego Chargers uniform. Guy went out there and played with a torn ACL, the AFC Championship game, to try to get San Diego Super Bowl. And as mentioned before, I'll say this. I've said this multiple times, and I'll continue to say it. He brought up the good point. It's like, well, all the Charger fans hate Jay Cutler because of the back and forth, right? And now I don't really care about the Chiefs anymore in terms of a hate thing as a Charger fan. I actually like the Raiders. Like, it's kind of fun to watch the Raiders try to, in a circus way, win. Plus, when they beat the Chargers, it's hilarious. But I tell you right now, I still I still hate the Broncos. Out of all the teams, I still hate the Broncos. Still hate the Broncos. But Ahmad brings up a lot of good memories, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. And it's not on Marlon McCree. It's not his fault. But Marlon McCree takes a knee on that interception in 2006 when the Chargers were 14-2. There's no doubt in my mind that the Chargers are in the Super Bowl, and they probably win it, and they're probably still here. And I put in the chat, and in that alternate universe, Justin Herbert's wearing the powder blue, and Fernando's wearing the brown and gold, and they're right here in San Diego, which would be a great thing to talk about. But I still hate the Broncos. They drive me nuts. Their fans drive me nuts. It is what it is. If you like the Broncos, I'm sorry. Agree to disagree. Do we have a contestant, Frank? We do have a contestant. for the Midday Sports Standoff. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
That's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, who's playing today?
We have Ron in Del Cerro today. Ron, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good, good. Okay, so with the announcement that came yesterday out of Kansas City, the Royals have just activated Rich Hill to pitch for them. This will make his 14th team that he is going to pitch for in Major League Baseball. Who are the other 13? That is the question that you guys have to answer today. So, Ron, you have the first pick.
Padres.
Boy, don't sound so excited. Jeez, to have such a legend as Rich Hill pitch for your organization.
Boston Red Sox.
He did 2 stints with Boston, so Braden gets the rare double point on that one.
Wow. How about that? Is that the only double deal?
Actually, you know what? That's not even a double. That's a triple.
Triple. Bang. On it.
3rd time. My goodness. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ron.
Dodgers.
He did pitch for Los Angeles. Braden.
Padres got him from Pittsburgh, didn't they? I'll go with Pittsburgh. They get him from Pittsburgh?
Correct. Pittsburgh Pirates.
G-Man Choi. The trade to forget.
Ron.
I think he was a Cub.
Started his career with the Cubs.
Tampa.
Tampa Bay. Correct. Ron.
Minnesota.
COVID year. Minnesota Twins. Correct.
He was a New York Frank Marchese Metropolitan, was he not?
2021. He was a New York Met. Ron?
Cleveland.
Good guess.
Spent a year with the then Indians.
I think he was a Yankee, too.
He was a Yankee, 2014. Ron?
Oakland, Sacramento A's.
No Clemento.
2016.
I think he was a Halo. Was he most recently a Halo?
If you want to call most recently 2014, then yes, most recently he was.
I thought he played more games for the Halos.
Ron? Running low on picks here.
How many do we have left?
Baltimore.
One more?
He said Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Correct. And as a matter of fact, that is the last one. Unfortunately, because Braden got Boston, you don't win on the number of picks. However,
we're nice.
Because we are so sick and tired of seeing Braden win on this show, you are qualified for the trip to Las Vegas.
I
agree. And I was actually incorrect. So, Ron, just hold on the line there. I was also incorrect on that. He actually pitched for Boston 4 times.
No, I would have won. He had 4 different stints.
He had 4 different
6
stints.
years.
So, the Cubbies, he pitched from 2005 to 2008. Then Baltimore in 2009, Boston from 10 to 12, Cleveland 13, Angels and Yankees 14, Red Sox again in 15, A's in 16, Dodgers 16 to 19, Twins 20, Rays and Mets 21, Red Sox 22, Pirates Padres 23, Boston 24, and now Kansas City 25.
Which one was the year that he got? Was he the guy that got? Did he get arrested at a Patriots game, or is that somebody else?
It was probably somebody else.
Who was that? That was a baseball player.
I mean, it was either that topic or which MLB teams play on turf instead of grass. I figured this one would be the more fun, lighthearted one that we might actually get a winner in.
Rich Hill and his wife were arrested at a Patriots game. I do remember that.
Well, Rich, I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt.
They were arrested and fined over an altercation with police in Saturday's Bills New England Patriots game. Foxborough police told the Boston Globe. Apparently,
wow, it's packed at USD right now.
Is it?
God, no.
Oh, no. That would be the only time I'd wanted to see it packed. It just shows like, hey, look.
Ben,
San Diego.
For those of you who don't know, Ben Higgins is out at the Chargers training camp right now. Just posted a picture from about 8 minutes ago.
I see it.
You can count how many people are there.
They get more people for USD events. Sure.
It's
well, I don't like. Was this for season ticket holders only, or is this open to the public?
If it was for season ticket holders only, then it's more understandable. But if this was open to the public, I thought I saw in chat that tomorrow's is open for the public. If this was open for the public, boy, oh boy, are they in a world of trouble thinking about coming down here. They are in a world of hurt.
Let's see what it says. It didn't say. I don't know. I didn't see a press release.
Chargers training camp presented by UCLA Health. I'm sure that's.
I thought it was like. I thought there was some special
fans.
Deal. Like somebody in the chat goes military and families only.
Okay, so that
makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, that's fair and understandable, but still, I'm sure there are a couple more Navy people on leave today.
Yeah, I think it's military only.
I think there are a couple more military people on leave today than what have actually showed up at Torero Stadium.
I'm trying to see if they say LA on anything or if they just put Chargers training camp.
No, it just says.
I just see
it's just
camp.
showing the Bolt. It's not even saying Chargers training camp.
Bolt training camp. Yeah, it doesn't say LA anywhere.
Sponsored by
UCLA Health.
Yeah, sponsored by UCLA Health. So that's also nice. But then again, I don't know how many people from the military would be available. Have you seen did you see over the weekend somebody accidentally drove a boat into the side of the Midway?
I did see that.
They're estimating over $100,000 worth of damage to that.
That is an old ship, dude.
It is. I know. But that's a lot of money for a ship that looked like just shrugged it off and did nothing.
Well, so is tomorrow open to the public?
That's what I saw in chat. I don't know if that's the case or not, but my goodness.
I'd be interested to see how many, because most of their fans live here. So that makes sense.
It looks like the number of fans just barely outnumbers the number of players on the field, of which there are about 10 of them. There are more coaches on the field than players in this picture.
Rich Hill got arrested at Gillette Stadium in 2019 because his wife tried to enter Gillette Stadium with an oversized bag. She was arrested on disorderly conduct and trespassing after she refused to leave the area when ordered by police.
Oh my goodness.
And then Rich started
because
yelling.
The size of a bag, really?
Hey, you know what? Yeah. So that's that. Anyway. So open to the public tomorrow?
Brother.
I'll see you tomorrow. Have fun covering
How many
that for
more
us.
time?
Have fun covering that for us tomorrow, Frank. Appreciate it. Tell me how it is.
Yeah, that's adorable. I'm going to use my day off to go to a Chargers training
camp practice at
out
USD.
Of your mind. You're the UCSD guy.
USD.
Or USD. Sorry, my bad.
UCSD.
UCSD rolls off the tongue a little easier for me. I'm sorry.
You like adding an extra letter?
Yeah.
That's where they used to do training camp back in the day.
Or I did. I went there once.
I think I went there as a kid a couple times before they built Chargers Park. They used to do training camp at UCSD. But anyway, is Philip Rivers showing up tomorrow?
Again,
he should, but
you're asking a bunch of questions that I don't have the answer to.
Worthless over here.
I know. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I thought you were the human almanac. Oh, you know what? That's Chris Ello. My bad. My B. Let's talk more Padres when we come back. And San Diego State football is ramping up. We'll get you a little preview on that as well as we return on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97 to the Fan. Congratulations again to Ron and Del Cerro for winning our grand prize today. Show, which is a qualification for a chance to win our grand prize. 2 night stay at Park MGM Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Motley Crue on September 19th, and a $100 gas card. Catch Motley Crue's Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM September 12th to the October 3rd. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
And thank you very much to Ron for holding on, because I did not forget about him during the break.
It happens, dude.
I absolutely did not
I've done that before. Ron, just hang on, dude. Well, you got his number right there. Maybe he's in the system already.
Well, yep, there he is. So we got him at least.
All right, there you go. Okay, well, I want to talk about San Diego State Aztec football at 1:30 to finish the show. And I do want to dive into Padres Day 2 in South Beach. But we got to talk about a couple of things first. We have some first half trends that we're going to buy and sell with Major League Baseball. But the Padres have made a roster move today. In fact, a minute ago, the Padres made a roster move. Here's Frank Marchese with your latest update.
Yeah, there have been a lot of roster moves today. A 2-graphic roster move for this one. Starling Marte has been reinstated from the 10-day injured list. Infielder Jared Young optioned down to AAA before today's game. Rico Garcia has reported to the Major League team and will be active for tonight's game. Kevin Heggert also optioned down to AAA following last night's game. Also have Justin Garza being recalled, Chris Davinsky DFA'd, and Brandon Waddle's optional assignment was reversed, and he is now on the 15-day IL.
When did we get Starling Marte?
Oh, you wanted the Padres? Oh, my bad. Hold on.
Frank.
Whoops. Sorry.
I didn't want the fighting grimaces. The Padres roster move today.
The Padres
that seemed like a lot of roster moves, though. I can see why it'd be a 2-graphic roster move for the Mets.
The Padres recalled Stephen Kolek and Kyle Hart from AAA while optioning Alec Jacob and Brian Hoeing down to AAA.
Now, Brian Hoeing one's interesting to me.
Yes, that one I would not have expected that one. But then again, he hasn't pitched in a while, has he?
He just pitched the other day. He pitched in in Washington on Sunday. So, Rod says a foul, but I don't think so.
No, that was funny. Stop it.
That was funny. Was it funnier than the Crickets joke yesterday?
No.
I don't know.
No, it was not.
Doesn't get a foul. Letting him play today. Kyle Hart's back. Kyle Hart, in his last stint with the Padres at the Major League level, 11 straight batters retired.
And Kevin Acee saying Kolek expected Kyle Hart a new development. So... Okay. There probably is something wrong with either Jacob or Hoeing, yeah.
That's interesting. We'll keep you updated on that as it plays about. So, Stephen Kolek, Kyle Hart up. Alec Jacob, Brian Hoeing sent down to El Paso. Well, I'm surprised they didn't, if he's hurt or something, they didn't put him on the injured list. So, but Kyle Hart back. Maybe he can do... he looked pretty good the other day before the All-Star break out of relief. So we'll see what he's got. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We are done with the first half of the Major League Baseball season. We're done with the ceremonial first half. We're done with the regular first half. We are now done with the first 100 games for at least the San Diego Padres. And so we have some first half MLB trends that Frank has compiled to make a buy or sell. So let's get to Frank Marchese on this buy or sell for Major League Baseball.
I did such a good job. ESPN.com decided to use this buy or sell. So I'm very proud of that. This has been a big week for me. I'm getting stuff in ESPN. I was on the news last night. Thank you very much again to Ben Higgins for that.
Motorsports reporter.
Yes, sir.
I love it. Are you going to the press conference tomorrow?
I wish.
Some reporter you are, foul.
I know, right? The AL East has gone through enough plot twists this season to fill a whole series of novels, and we're just about to get to August. Will the chaos in the American League East continue, or will it start to simmer out?
Will the chaos continue? I think it will. Aside from the Baltimore Orioles,
who have been that's the most chaotic situation, honestly.
They have been such a disappointment. For what they have done the last couple of years, they have been such a disappointment. I think it's about to get even more chaotic in the AL East. Right now, you have the Blue Jays in the lead by 4 games. They have now won 5 straight against the New York Yankees, who sit in second place, 4 games back. The Boston Red Sox are 6 games back, and the Tampa Bay Rays are 7.5 games back. Well, why is that significant? That's like any other standings. I mean, that's just like the National League West standings. The difference is all those teams are above 500 and well above 500. Yankees are 10 games above 500. The Red Sox are 54-48, and the Rays are 52-49. The American League East has continued to flip it and be the best division in the American League. And for that sake, and the fact that all those teams have money or they're very creative, you can guess which team that is out of the 4. Yes, it's the Yankees. They're the creative one. I think it's going to lead to an exciting trade deadline. I think it's going to lead to a fun race. And I still think, even if the Red Sox decide to trade Jarren Duran, because it's not just the Phillies that were interested, or sorry, the Padres are interested, it's the Phillies and some other teams that might be interested in Jarren Duran. I still think they could be a contender with the outfield that they have. They need to go get some arms. So I think this could be a fun race. I think the chaos will continue.
I agree as well. It's also very nice to see Toronto having some sort of success with how much they've tried recently to be in the race and try to spend money. Ohtani's on a plane to Toronto. It's nice to see them finally getting some of that reward back. Well, I mean, that was the report, was it not?
That's why I'm laughing. Continue.
But it's nice to see Toronto get some of that reward back from the effort that they've put in. They've beaten the Yankees 5 straight games. They've won 14, I think, or 11 or 14, one of the two straight games at home. So they've had a really good time of it, and it's good for them, honestly.
I mean, think about our interview we had with Dan Schulman way back at the beginning. I mean, that seems like a year ago. It didn't seem very great for the Blue Jays at the current point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And they have turned things around.
Yep.
So they're in first place. And as Frank mentioned earlier, headlines you love to see, any team beating the Yankees 5 times in a row.
Yep, exactly right.
All right, item number 2, by yourself.
Another divisional race that has been a little topsy-turvy. Everyone expected the Chicago Cubbies to just walk away with the NL Central, especially with how the season started. But now the Milwaukee Brewers are currently leading the Central, and the Cardinals are kind of on a ledge as to whether or not they're going to buy or sell. Buy or sell, the continuation of a suddenly very interesting NL Central race.
I'm selling it because I think by the time the trade deadline rolls around, with the Cardinals and the Reds schedules and the direction they're trending right now, it might be coming to a close. Because we've talked about the Cardinals before. This is part of their rebuild stages. They're not even expecting to compete. They've even told everybody they're not competing in these particular years, yet they have caught fire. They're on 52-49 in the season, but they're 8.5 games out of the division. They're 3.5 games now back in the wild card. If the Padres can take 3 out of 4 from St. Louis, I think that knocks them out and gives them an incentive to sell at the deadline. And I think Cincinnati, even though they're more inclined to buy to please their fans, based on the way they're playing and how they have played recently, I think they're going to start to fall off. So I think the Cardinals and Reds are going to fall off. But I do think Brewers and Cubs is going to be a battle at the top for the division. And the Padres are 5 games behind those two teams in terms of overall seeding purposes. The Brewers currently, right now, are the best team in Major League Baseball record-wise. I'm going to give you a buy or sell. Buy or sell, they will be the best team at the end of the year record-wise.
The Brewers?
The Brewers. They're currently the best team record-wise in all of Major League Baseball.
No.
I don't think so either. They've won 10 straight games.
The Cubs are built to win that division. The Brewers are exceeding every single expectation they've had put in front of them.
When the Padres went to Milwaukee and took 2 out of 3, I was like, I'm not afraid of this team.
Yeah, no. I would
They
be
have
very
won-
afraid of the Cubs. I would not be afraid
Let me
of
clarify.
Milwaukee.
The Brewers have caught the Cubs because they have won 11 straight games. It's obviously not sustainable. They're 10-0 on their last 10, obviously. They've won 11 straight, and they're now a game in front of Chicago. I mean, think about what they needed to do to catch Chicago. 11 straight wins is absurd. They did beat the Dodgers 6 straight times, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, on to the next one.
To the next one we go. The American League MVP race. Currently, it's really a 2-horse race. Aaron Judge or Cal Raleigh. Buy or sell, this race will continue, and one of them will not just fall by the wayside. Cal Raleigh.
You don't think Aaron Judge will fall by the wayside? Now with the pub he gets in New York. I think this will continue to be a race because I think Cal Raleigh is having one of those years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what makes him a viable MVP candidate is the fact that he is also catching and what he brings as a catcher on top of being a really good hitter with the home runs that he hits. I mean, he's got to do a lot of different things. It's crazy that he is able to put up the numbers he is putting up as a catcher whilst continuing catching a good pitching staff for the Seattle Mariners. I think him catching gives that added sense of like, wow, this is very impressive for Cal Raleigh and the Seattle Mariners. Plus, they're staying in it. They're 5 games out of first place with the Houston Astros. They're right there in the wild card race. I think Cal Raleigh is going to make this thing interesting down the stretch.
I tend to agree with that as well. We'll start to burn through these a little bit quicker here. To my uncle in Connecticut, if you're listening, you can turn the radio up now. Buy or sell, Pete Crow Armstrong wins the National League MVP this year.
Am I buying it? Do I think it can happen?
Yes.
Not really, because Shohei Ohtani's a thing. It's just like
you can't just give it to Shohei Ohtani every single year.
I agree. Can't just give it to Mike Trout every single year, but they did for a long time. Can't just give it to Aaron Judge every year. Here's the discussions we're having. I think he has. I think what he has done has put him in the conversation. For a player in his league that pitches and is now starting to pitch again and hit, and on a team that's a division lead, I find it hard for anybody to overtake Shohei Ohtani, despite the fact that he has not played up to a Shohei Ohtani level. So from that perspective, I think it's going to be very difficult. So I'll sell. But I think he makes it a little bit of a run. The next one on your list is very interesting. And I think it's worth the conversation. Because I might be buying this. It is about our
beloved
friends north of us. And after another injury, who knows? We'll get to it when we go to break or when we come back from break as we continue some of these first half trends on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, as Frank will deal with Ron when we go to break on 97.3, The Fan. How about Hootie and the Blowfish covering Hey, Hey, What Can I Do on a Tuesday, huh? By Led Zepp. Hootie! Great song. Hey, Hey, What Can I Do by Led Zeppelin. The rendition by Hootie and the Blowfish. Also good. What's your thoughts?
That was good. I like Hootie.
Yeah, Hootie's great.
Not sure about that Blowfish, though.
Yeah, I can't trust the Blowfish.
Nope. Sorry.
Lineup is out. We'll get to the lineup here before we get back to the buy or sell. This is the thing about like the show. I like to put some new music out there for you, or some good hits that you don't get to hear mainstream, like that particular one. All right, lineup today for the Padres. I don't know why all of a sudden I can't find it. It's pretty much like every other lineup you've seen. Not major changes. Too much.
So then you couldn't just go off of memory at that point?
Fernando batting leadoff and in right field. Arise DHing today and batting second. Manny is playing third and batting third. Gavin Sheets batting cleanup in left field. Xander Bogaerts bats fifth, plays shortstop. Jackson Merrill in center field batting sixth. Jake Cronenworth plays first base today. He bats seventh. Jose Iglesias plays second base and bats eighth. And Martin Maldonado will bat ninth and catch for Stephen Kolek, the starting pitcher today for the San Diego Padres. As mentioned before, Kolek has been recalled, as well as Kyle Hart from AAA El Paso. They have optioned Alec Jacob and Brian Hoeing back to El Paso.
As every Met fan was saying on Sunday with Mark Vientos, this is a very opportune time for AJ Preller to remind everybody that Jake Cronenworth can also play first base.
Yes, he can. He can play first. All right. Back to our buy or sell first half trends. What do we got? This is the one that we talked about.
This is the big one, really. And I'm going to lay this one out a little bit more. The 8-0 start following the offseason additions of Blake Snell, Roki Sasaki, and Tanner Scott created talk the Dodgers might be one of the greatest teams of all time. Despite an inconsistent first half, one full of more pitching injuries and some subpar performances from players like Mookie Betts and Michael Conforto, the Dodgers are still on pace to win 97 games. A 2-7 slump as of the time of the writing of this, heading into the break, highlighted some of their issues. Betts has a sub 700 OPS. Freeman is hitting a .197 with one home run over his past 32 games. Scott has blown 7 saves and now has blown his elbow. The rotation ranks just 20th in the majors in ERA. The bullpen ranks 24th in ERA. Buy or sell? The Dodgers aren't just not very good. They're mediocre.
I don't know if I can say they're mediocre when they're in first place. I think that's hard to say. I mean, they're also, where are we at standings-wise? How many games above 500 are they? They're 59 and 42. There's 17 games above 500. So I wouldn't necessarily say they're mediocre. I think their level of play is very disappointing if you're a Dodgers fan. I mean, you're expected to be the best team money can buy, and that here you are blowing through arms like it's no tomorrow. I mean, constant injuries with the pitching staff, and now they just lost Tanner Scott potentially for a period of time. And I don't know what the latest update was. With one out in the ninth inning, closer Tanner Scott left with a forearm injury. That's never great. Grimacing after spiking a slider in the dirt and flexing his left throwing arm as a trainer accompanied him to the dugout. We've seen that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Manager Dave Roberts did not have an update on Scott's injury afterward. He said the $72 million offseason signing would undergo an MRI scan Tuesday, which is obviously today. Emotionally, he's not well. He just felt something in his forearm as far as like a stinging sensation. We're going to get an MRI tomorrow, and we'll know after that. Obviously, anytime a pitcher has come out of the game,
sounds like Tommy John.
We just got to sit back and wait for the results further assess. We're not doctors, so we cannot tell you, but it doesn't look great for Tanner Scott. Add him to the list of Dodgers that have gotten injured that are starting pitchers and bullpen arms. I think the Dodgers, I think they're slightly above mediocre. I think they've had way better teams in the past than this year's team. And I think injuries have to make a big play to this. I mean, they have not. Their pitching staff has not been very good. And what really got them through the playoffs last year was their bullpen and their pitching staff.
Their bullpen's awful,
and their bullpen is, as you mentioned, with some of the not one of the best in Major League Baseball. In fact, one of the worst in Major League Baseball. So I'm not a full buy on them being mediocre. And at the trade deadline, we'll see what they decide to do. They obviously have a lot of holes that they have to fill. And they have the resources to do all of those things. So, I mean, they could get a retooled team immediately at the trade deadline, like a guy like Mason Miller, who we were talking about before. So, from that perspective, I think they're slightly above mediocrity, even though they're 17 games above 500. But right now, they're not playing very good baseball. They beat the Twins last night, but the Brewers took their lunch, and they've just kind of been treading water after a great start to the season.
And this has kind of been the question that I had after Roki Sasaki signed with them is how many more pitchers are going to see the Dodgers just continue to be a meat grinder for arms and still want to pitch there. A World Series ring, I understand it's the thing that everyone goes after. But is it really that important that you're going to possibly risk your career and risk the chance of you never winning one again to go and pitch for the Los Angeles Dodgers right now? No shot, unless they make some serious changes within the organization. If I'm a pitcher, I'm as good as they are, I would not even consider going there.
Money talks. Would you rather go there or Colorado?
You know what? I'd rather go to Colorado. I'd rather get my brains beaten in.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
You'd take less money to go to Colorado.
I'm a Met fan, Islander fan, and a Knicks fan. I've had a lifetime of getting my brains beaten in. I'm used to it by now. Okay?
Money talks. I don't think the Dodgers are mediocre, but I definitely think they're very disappointing. Not disappointing to Padres fans, but disappointing for them. All right, next one.
Young sluggers bursting onto the scene. We saw James Wood and Junior Caminero in the home run derby, and both are having outstanding first full seasons in the majors. Wood has 24 home runs and ranks 8th in the majors in OPS, while Caminero has 23 home runs, but not the overall offensive numbers that Wood has. A year ago, Nicholas Kurtz had been drafted in the first round by the A's out of Wake Forest and has since mashed 17 home runs in 58 games after being in AAA for the start of the season. Do we see the continuation of these young kids coming up and just mashing right out of the gate?
Do we see a correlation?
No, do we see them continue to do this?
I think so. I think they can continue to do it. I think you're seeing guys develop way faster. I think and not all of those guys are college guys, but I think the college players are getting through the minor leagues a lot quicker. And I think teams are pushing players through their farm system a lot quicker. That might have opened up with the incentives that were put in the last CBA to get guys up instead of trying to manipulate service time. And I could see the continuation on that.
You know, they really have had a very shocking start to the year. By the way, speaking of first baseman, Rafael Devers to make his first base debut for the Giants tonight.
They won the trade deadline. Remember that?
Yep, they did.
Jim Bowden said that they won the trade deadline already.
And we're going to close off with this because the last couple don't really fit in the timeline anymore.
They don't affect my life.
How many games did the Colorado Rockies lose this year? That is literally the question on the last one is how many games will the Rockies lose? After a 9-50 start, left them on pace to lose 137 games. Good night, Irene. It looked as though the Rockies might shatter the White Sox modern era record of 121 losses. The Rockies have won 3 in a row at one point and had another 4-game winning streak later in June, but then went 4-14 in their final 18 games before the break, which left them at 22-74, leaving them still on pace for 125 miserable losses this season for the Rockies.
They just played their 100th game. They lost it, surprisingly. They're 24-76. Do you think they can play 500 ball in their last 62 games? 500 ball.
No.
I don't think so either. I don't think they can play 500 ball. If they play 500 ball the rest of the way,
They're still losing
they will lose 107 games. Are they going to play at the 240 pace they're at? I feel like they could get a little bit better. But after the trade deadline, looking at their, and since this is the last question, we got 2 minutes.
Do they have any more games against the Yankees?
The Phillies? They actually did pretty well against the Phillies. I got to look at their schedule for the next whatever, because they're, remember, post-trade deadline, and I'm pulling it up right
rabbit
now.
Hole.
Post-trade deadline for the Rockies. Remember, competing teams turn into all-star teams post-deadline. So before the deadline, they got Baltimore and Cleveland, who are better than them.
They're playing St. Louis right now.
I know. And unfortunately, the Padres fans, they need them to win. So post-deadline schedule, they got the Pirates, Toronto is in first place, L's, Arizona, St. Louis, Arizona, Dodgers, Pittsburgh, Astros, Cubs, Giants, Padres, Dodgers, Padres, and then they finish the season with the Marlins and the Angels, and then they go to Seattle and play San Francisco.
The Marlins, who they swept, by the way,
Hey,
this
how about
year.
that? There's
In
the fish.
Miami, too.
Based on who they got playing, I would imagine they probably continue at their 240 pace, which means they're win about 39 games, which means they're going to lose 123. What was the pace that you said? 120 what?
127 was the pace. 125, sorry, was the pace that they're on. 125. 37 and 125.
So since then, they've gotten to a 240 percentage, and out of 162 games, it sets up for 38.8 wins, which round to 39. They're expected to lose 123 games. What was this White Sox last year?
121.
I think they beat it. I think they lose 123 games. I think they continue at this pace. I think their schedule's brutal, and I think they're going to lose 123 games. 125, I think, is very plausible. I mean, win 39 games. I mean, think about that for a second. 39. Is that what I said? 39?
Yeah.
39 games, which means they have to win 15 more games to get to 123 losses. So to beat, what was it? What was the last year's thing?
121.
121. So to not be the worst team in the history of Major League Baseball, the Colorado Rockies have to win 17 games from now to the end of the season. You know what? Maybe we should keep a tracker on that if they win. 17 games. Their magic number to not be the worst team ever. Not really magic number, but their number of wins. Their number of wins to not be the worst team ever in the history of baseball is 17. They have to win 17 games. They have 62 remaining.
Can you do it, boys?
Do you think they can do it, yes or no?
No.
I don't think they can do it either. 17 games in 62 games. They have to win 17 out of the next 62, and they will not be, that guarantees that they will be better than last year's White Sox. Insane.
Luckiest man in Denver, Colorado right now? Bud Black.
Yeah, hey.
He got ejected off of the ship.
He got like, I gotta ask Chris L that question.
And
they
of
win
course,
17 games in the next 62? 17.
And of course, we also feel bad for friend of the show, Sean Bouchard.
Of course. 17 games. Can they do it? The answer is no. We're gonna get you a San Diego State football preview before they start training camp and get you ready for tonight's game. Padres and Marlins. Remember, we're gonna be off tomorrow because of the game at 9:10 in the morning. So we will see you again on Thursday. So we'll recap both of those games on Thursday, but we'll get you a preview for both games to finish up the Padres Marlins series and an Aztec football preview when we come back. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour 97 to the fans brought to you by U.S. Wellness Meats. Overwhelmed by processed foods, U.S. Wellness Meats offers an all-natural alternative, 100% grass-fed beef, pork, poultry, wild-caught seafood, and more, shipped free from family farms. Get 20% off your first order at uswellnessmeats.com. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Take it up to 2 o'clock each and every day. Now, we will not be on tomorrow because we have Padres baseball. We'll be back on Thursday. Roundtable, first hour of the show. And we'll have Thursday and Friday of this week. Gotta love the East Coast road trip, Frank. A little extra day off in the middle of the week. So, anyway, that will be tomorrow. So, we got a little bit of a preview that we have to give for you in terms of Padres baseball. Tonight, it's Stephen Kolek, 3-4 with a 4.24 ERA against Edward Cabrera, 3-4 with a 3.61 ERA. The game will start at 3:40. Already saw Sam Levitt walking around. He's already here. He's got the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show at 2:40, following Gwen and Chris at 2 o'clock. Very quick Gwen and Chris today. Get a long extended Gwen and Chris tomorrow, and a Scraby show tomorrow. Hey. I wonder what conscrabacy he'll come up with tomorrow. Dylan Cease, speaking of tomorrow, will start against Sandy Alcantara. Sandy's 4-9 with a 7.14 ERA. I've seen him twirled around about potentially being a trade target. And on Thursday, we'll talk about a lot of the trade targets that Jeff Passan said that related to the Padres in terms of fits. Again, these are fits, but not necessarily anything that's gaining too much traction. And we'll keep you updated on that on Thursday. And a couple strategies that we've seen be released about the Padres in terms of some reporting for individual players, which leads to the question of, are the Padres looking for a bullpen piece that could potentially be a starter in the future? Mason Miller's name was thrown out there. I think he might be too expensive, but are there other pitchers that might fit that criteria? We might be able to talk about one of those on Thursday. So be tuned into the Braden Surprenant Show, 10 to 2, each and every day. If you haven't done so already, we really appreciate it if you subscribe to the 97.3 YouTube page. It's right there. If you're watching online, which I have a version of it pulled up on my computer so I can interact with you guys in the chat. But if you scroll down below the chat, the 97.3 The Fan logo, there's a little bell that says subscribe. And you click on the subscription button. It takes 2 seconds. It helps us out. It does wonders. And it doesn't cost you a thing. Below that, it has the description of today's show. And it lists how you can follow us on social media. If you haven't seen the new shirts we printed, they're really nice. Light work, light fit, very comfortable. Brown and gold. Braden Surprenant Show shirts. They're perfect to wear at a Padres game. Check them out on my social media pages. On X, on Instagram. I had it on my Instagram story. I did post it yesterday, so it might be deleting very soon on my story. But if you haven't checked out our social media pages, they're posted below. Click the link and follow. For everybody listening listening in their car on the Odyssey app, at B_SURP, at BSURP. If you're listening in podcast form, we greatly appreciate it. You can listen to all of our shows in podcast form wherever you get your podcast. Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio app, Odyssey app, any of those apps, wherever you get your podcast, be sure you can find our show, Braden Surprenant, the Braden Surprenant Show. And while you're there, on all of those sites, there will be a button to make it easier for you to find us. So you don't have to go scrolling and searching after the first time. It's usually a subscribe button. I know that turns people off, but the reality is the subscribe button is free. It's free to do. It's just going to put it on those apps, including on YouTube, right there front and center, so it's easy for you to find. We're trying to get 500 subscribers on the Braden Surprenant Show page at B_SURP. We're getting closer to our goal, but we're not there yet. We could use some more subscriptions. If you haven't done it already, it makes it easier for you guys to find our stuff. And I'll probably be able to put a link in there once I figure it out. I'm going to add it to the list on how you can get some of the merch. And we'll put that in the link below. Maybe if I could get that done today, I'll get that figured out. I get the shirts shipped to me on Thursday, and then I'm trying to pass out as many shirts as possible so we can see them walking around town. For all you great listeners out there that support our show, we greatly appreciate it. So that's some housekeeping for you. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our page on YouTube. Follow us on social media at @B_SURP. Follow the show at @B_SURP show. And you can also follow Frank Marchese on Instagram and on X at FMarks, MARKZ 324. It's great content. And I know a lot of people want the show, want the shirts. So I'm gonna find a process to get you guys all shirts. But it's gonna be first come, first serve. That's all of that needs to be taken care of. Now, let's talk about Aztec football. I got to talk to a couple of Aztec football players last week. And I'm telling you right now, I am believing in this Aztec football team. I oversold them last year. I think they were a little disappointing last year. But once you start to realize what Sean Lewis had to do as a head football coach and as basically a general manager, I understand why Aztec fast was Aztec slow. Aztec never left the station. But I'm telling you right now, I've learned a lot about this program behind the scenes and what they're doing. And as we talked about in the first segment of the Braden Surprenant show about the Padres and the things that they do correct, and I've talked about this before, the organizations and the teams that take care of the little things and they win on the margins, and it's about the pulling the rope in the right direction and that camaraderie. We've talked about that ad nauseum, all the coach speak. Aztec football is doing it. They have breakout sessions on Wednesdays. And in these breakout sessions on Wednesdays for the football team, they get to know everybody. And they don't even talk about football. They break out in small groups and they just talk about life. And they get to know everybody that is a member of this football team. You guys have no idea. Anybody that's never been around a team, you don't even understand how important that is for a team. I love that they're doing that. I love it. I think that's great for Aztec football. I think it's great for the kids on that team. That was one of the things that I heard about what Aztec football is doing, that I know it's going to be a way better year. When you look at some of these programs, they have over 100 kids a part of it in some aspect. And a lot of the Power 4 schools don't even know everybody on the team. They don't know anybody on the team. They just know maybe a couple of names. But San Diego State has taken the time to make sure everybody knows everybody and they know about their walks of life. And they're discussing a lot of different things, like the most tragic time in an individual's life. I mean, they're opening up and you get to know these people. And in football especially, that helps in knowing in the trust level that the guy next to me is going to get the job done. I'm telling you, that is so important in football. In football especially, everybody's got an individual assignment and they have to work together to make things happen. I mean, I could get into the X's and O's in it, and it gets very complex. But defensively, when you're trying to stop any type of team in football, you got to worry about the front. Every gap's got to be covered. Everybody's got a gap responsibility. It's either linemen or linebackers. So if you want to line up in a 53 defense, which is something that I as a D coordinator, I run a lot, I got a nose guard in a 1 technique. I got a tackle in a 3 technique. I got 2 ends in 5 techniques. Nose guard's got the A gap. The 3 techniques got a B gap. Both my outside guys have C gap. My other linebackers have an A and a B gap. All gaps are covered. In order to stop the run, you got to hold your gap. You don't hold your gap, you get taken away. All of a sudden, it frees up somebody else. Now, all of a sudden, I got to adjust. Things go haywire. But in the front, everybody's got a gap. In the secondary, everybody's got a position, right? A zone to cover, a man to cover. It's a very complex thing. You start adding tight ends, all of a sudden, it creates another gap. Now we have more problems. I mean, there's a lot going on when it comes to slowing people down. And it's very basic stuff. I don't want to go too much into it. But when you're playing defense and you know the guy next to you and you could trust the guy next to you to get his job done, you can focus on your task at hand. And when you're working as a unit, you're going to be way better. So that's one of the things that they're doing right now that I think is phenomenal. Their offense right now is clicking. They relate to their quarterbacks that they have right now way more than the last quarterback that they had. And they believe in him. That's also part of the process. The Aztec offense is moving quickly, but they're running the ball a lot. They got a guy like Lucky Sutton back there that can run the rock. Their defense is returning 9 starters. One of them led the country in sacks for most of the year. I don't know if he finished like that or not. Who got offered a ton of money to go to the SEC. That's a San Diego kid that decided to stay home. In Trey White, he got picked to be the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. He's coming back on that defense. Tano Latuli, who is the epitome of a leader. I've seen it firsthand as somebody that I got to coach as a sophomore on, who spent time at Army. I'm telling you right now, he's leading that defense in the middle. They have 9 guys coming back. Experience is going to be a major key to this team. And the last thing I think that's very important about Aztec football this year, again, stuff that you're not going to read in the papers, stuff that you're not going to see on a stat sheet, but adding a general manager to take a lot of the responsibility off Sean Lewis is going to allow Sean Lewis to run the offense and run the team like he is supposed to. They got picked to finish 8th in the Mountain West. I think they're going to finish higher than that. They got picked, I think, barely to win 6 games, if that. I'm telling you right now, they're hitting the over. I think you're fine. This is going to be the real first season of Sean Lewis football at San Diego State. And so when it comes to the breakout groups on Wednesdays for Aztec football, when it comes to the team building and team camaraderie that this team has, when it comes to a lot of the returners coming back from last year, mixed in with a quarterback that's bought in, mixed in with an offense that's starting to click a little bit more, second year in the offense for San Diego State, this is going to lead to a lot better season for San Diego State football and probably success. Are they going to win the Mountain West Championship? I don't know if I'm going to go that far. It's going to take a lot to bounce back from what they did last year, but it's going to be a lot better of a football team. And it's going to be a team that San Diego is going to be proud about and proud of. So I think they're going to be bowl eligible. I think it's going to be a lot more entertaining to watch. I think they're going to give the teams like Cal and Washington State a run for their money. And we'll see. Doing the right things and then executing are 2 totally different things. But I'm telling you right now, I think Aztec football is going to be a lot better. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. That's our time. We'll be back on Thursday following the roundtable. Coming up next, Chris Ello, Matt Scraby, Gwen and Chris leading into Padres baseball, the Water SoCal Padres pregame show. We'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Bye-bye.